right, welcome everybody to another episode of O Podcast. Today I got a special guest, a friend of mine, author of From Pain to Power. This lady here, man, she wears so many different hats. Miss Sheirra Haines.
Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome. I said welcome. Hey, Jay. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Of course. Of course. So, man, yeah. Where should we start at? Where do you want to go over first?
I want to go from. I like to kind of go from the top, just so people can get a understanding of the real work that we got to do, coming from
Yeah,
where we coming from and going to where we
yeah,
trying to go.
yeah.
So I like to, yeah, jump in and kind of start right there, if
Okay.
that's cool.
Yeah, let's get it.
All right, and I could come in off of the From Pain to Power part because you have mentioned that. So
Hmm.
I released From Pain to Power in April of 2019, and
Okay.
it came from it's a foundational book, like to get your own relationship with God. That's the
Hmm.
place I came from, just understanding who you are and what you went through. So the from pain part was life without God, just me being in the streets, not knowing, not having a full understanding about life,
Yeah,
relationships, and then the power part was me, coming into who I am, owning my truth, holding myself accountable, and doing the work, because even when we don't know,
yeah.
it's our responsibility to figure it out, you know?
Right,
So I guess
right.
with me, I caught my case when I want to say about 23 in 2007, and I was sentenced to 18 months in prison with my third child. I actually did my time with her. I was able to keep her for 18 months. I kept her for 9 months, and I sent her home and transferred to Trumbull so I can be closer to the other two kids that I had left at home. And I think like that's where my shift came from. Because when I was out in the streets, it was cool. That was the norm. That's where we came from.
Right,
That's how,
right,
I'm in an abusive relationship. I'm selling drugs. We going out. Like, that's what you see. Right.
right,
And even
right. Becomes
though
the norm.
yeah, and even though it's undesirable, you be in it. So
Yeah,
I think for me as a female, being incarcerated with two kids at home and having my baby in there, it just caused me to check my belief system, like what I was literally standing on. Because it's like I'm in here with a whole baby, ain't nobody around. My first time incarcerated. I got kids at home. They don't understand why they can't stay with mommy. You know what I mean?
right,
All they do when
right,
they
right.
see me, like I'm there with the baby, and it's like that. That literally, like it did something to me. It made me like check myself.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it made me like check myself because it's like, how did you get here?
right.
Because like out of all the things you doing, don't nobody say like, man, when I grow up, I want to go to the joint. Or when I grow up, I want to do drugs. Like for real,
Yeah,
like you don't say that. You got all these dreams as you growing up, stuff that you want to do. I had my first child at 15 and my grandma was like my mom. So when she passed away, I was like lost. I ain't had no foundation.
I
I
feel
ain't
that.
had nothing to stand on. I'm
Yeah,
looking to this lady, so I'm lost. I end up in an abusive relationship. I end up doing powder. I was popping Percocets. Like I was just like out here,
yeah,
literally, just like going through life with no purpose. And I feel like for me, incarceration was the best thing that ever could have happened to me. Like God did his big one, sending me to prison. And I
yeah,
feel like that because
yeah,
it's like if I didn't go through that situation, ain't no way I'll be here sitting here on the podcast talking to you. It was like my life was just spiraling. I ain't care about nothing. I ain't care about me, let alone the kids. I was just out here. So yeah, in there I started, like standing on what I mean, thinking about the things that I believe in, like the household, the environment, just like really checking that, being in a abusive relationship, it made me like look at my relationship I had with my dad. not being there. Like that was
Yeah.
critical, because it's like it made me understand how important like males are, especially
Absolutely.
to their girls. So
Absolutely.
it's like deep stuff, and just like after working on that and being able to look at my air, the things I did to people, the things that people did to me. I know when I left out of there, I left out of there with like a clear slate. Like I had rededicated my life back to God. Because when my grandma died, like I ain't want to hear about him. I ain't want to talk about him. I didn't have no understanding of her even leaving. So like them 6 years from her death to my incarceration, I just was here. They unaccounted for. I can't even tell you, you know what I mean though? And it's
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
kids was there, they seen, so it wasn't like I was just putting them off on people that be with my mom, but they seen that too. So then look at the trauma you passing down to your children.
Yeah. It's generational trauma.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So just dealing with all of that, and then just like coming home, I had to leave Youngstown. So I didn't say that when we opened up. We from Youngstown, Ohio. I
Right.
knew I couldn't go back to Youngstown and do my and try to rebuild.
It's not gonna happen.
Everybody was doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. You're just
Like
going.
literally, I'm like, I've been gone for 18 months. Y'all still at the same spot. Y'all still popping the same pills. Y'all still off trims. Like, what's
Yeah.
going on though? Like, I'm like tripping off of this, and it's like nothing changed.
Hmm.
I'm like, I can't be here.
Can't do it.
I can't be
Can't
here.
do it. Can't do it. It's no growth. You're not gonna
Can't
be
be
able to
here.
do it.
So then I went to Cleveland for a year. I had met this girl. I was in a relationship with her. I had moved to Cleveland. And I talk about this in the book because I be wanting people to see like the tricks and the things to be mindful of when you do try to change your life. Like I ain't know she was getting high. I ain't know she was kicking it. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm moving up there to get the apartment up top. She played her hand all crazy. We in the house. I went and never raised my kids like that. I just felt like I was back in the same cycle, but this time with a woman.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
fighting, we arguing, doing all this around the kids, and it's like, man, I can't be here either. And then it was too much snow. Like I wasn't even. It was just
That's
like
what I say now. I
snow.
don't never want to live in a place that got 4 seasons again. Like I don't want to deal with all that Midwest East Coast.
Man, we was shoveling out the driveway. And
Man.
the kids still went to school. We ain't go
Yeah.
through that. It's like
Yeah.
Cleveland on the snow belt. That wasn't for me either. And then just understanding that I was going right back through the same thing that I was going through before I got incarcerated. Just time it was just a different person. It was like I got to leave here too, and that's how I ended up getting to coming to Columbus. And it been some serious challenges, but since I've been here, I done been a correction officer. So I got incarcerated in 2007.
Yeah.
In 2017, God allow me to walk right back in Marysville. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? This time on a different side. And in there, you had to do like these teach backs. Like you had to teach when it was your time to be working with the women, you had to
Yeah.
like teach them something. So that's where kind of like the men in brokenness piece came from, because I had started doing it with them. It was like watching them, and it's like, you say you miss your kids, you say you don't want to be doing this, you locked up, but y'all playing games. You know what I'm saying? Y'all sitting here playing
Mhm.
cards. Like you ain't doing nothing with your time. And I
Right.
knew
Right.
that for me, my turnaround point was reflection. And people don't even understand the power in that. But I had to reflect on some stuff, because it's like, if you ain't willing to see it, like if you can't see what you in, then you ain't gonna be able to see your way out. If you
Hmm.
can't see yourself get into this other place, you ain't never gonna be able to get there. I don't care what you saying out your mouth. If you can't be able to really look at that. So it's like when I'm doing this piece, it's like, man, what do you want your life to look like? Where do you want to be? Like what you want to do? Never mind like the felonies. I got 5. I ain't never had nothing expunged. And it ain't
Right.
stopped me from
Right.
nothing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I don't even think like that. It's who I became.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as I became and came into like the person I was, and I owned my story, and then I realized that my story was connected to somebody else's story. Like I'm only walking in here on the other side because God is telling you that this ain't your end. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to walk in there to the women and be like, sis, get up. So what? You in here? I was in here 10 years ago. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? With a
Right.
baby.
Right. with a baby.
In shackles. Like, what you mean? Like, you can get up, and them being able to see it and give them hope, and that's just like what it is. But when I was working there, I ended up losing that job because my son Antoine had caught his case. And when he caught his case and his father passing away in the same week, it kind of like sent me back a little bit. So I never was like a drinker, but I had started drinking, and I had got this like OVI. They did like this checkpoint one day, and I refused it because I was a correction officer, right?
So that made it like an automatic fail.
Yeah, right. And then it's like every year they do a background check because you're working in the justice center, and I didn't tell them, so I had actually lost that job. But again, so whoever can hear what I'm saying. Again, I felt like God saved my life again, and not only that, I felt like He redirected me, like He allowed me to get my feet wet. Because when I was in there and I was doing the teach back, I felt alive. Like I felt like I had, like my life made sense. I would be going to work. I would be out here going to events and learning stuff, and would be going in there telling the ladies, sharing like books and stuff with them though. Like I really felt alive. And that's what like connected me with knowing that like I'm called to go in here and touch a mindset. I'm called to go reach a people. Like God is using me because my prison time ain't in vain. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm supposed to be doing this. So it didn't stop me from it stopped me from working in a correctional facility, but it didn't stop like what I believed or what I was seeing as I was going through what I was going through. He was still being able to use my story. So that's what I thought was kind of it's kind of powerful how God worked for real, because sometimes people be going through stuff, or you be going through things and you think it's about you, and it don't be about you.
Right.
You think you so in your head, you so arrogant that you thinking, oh, what happened to me, or why I gotta go, and it ain't got nothing to do with you. Like literally, what you just walked through, it can be attached to somebody else. That can be the next thing that gets somebody else free. That can help somebody else. I always looked at it like that. What you say?
I said you don't even know it at the time. You don't even know it, and you can't see it. But your journey could be somebody else's motivation. Yeah, your journey could be somebody else's motivation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then with so my youngest, I ended up having another child, my fourth child, in 2015, and her father actually started the Starts Within organization in 2011. So when we connected, the work that he was doing, I just was like, that's powerful, because he had did 10 years. And the first prison that he went and did his program in was Marion, where he had did his time at. So just locking in and just talking to him and working with him over the years, I just always thought that, like, man, mistakes just don't happen. So I actually first got into the prison through him, working as doing the CBT piece for the men inside of London. And then that just opened up the doors, and we got the mentorship program. And then I became the mentor coordinator for Indian River, Circleville, Cuyahoga Hills. I'm the case manager in 5 different facilities for the men, for the parenting class, like just being able to work with them. But that's how the doors ended up opening up. So it's like, even when you're looking at your life, I done went through the shelter since I've been in Columbus. I've been in Columbus for 13 years. I done been in the shelter. We done slept in the car. I done watched the kids up at McDonald's. Only thing, every time something was falling, because you got to think, when you coming from, I could hustle. I know how to get money. Like, that ain't no issue. The issue was, like, I don't want to do nothing that's going to cause me to get back incarcerated.
Took away from these babies again.
Took away from my kids, right?
So
when you own that, everything going to come at you to get you to go backwards. That's what people fail to realize. Everybody don't make it because everybody ain't willing to go through. Going back to Youngstown was never an option.
It ain't no option. It ain't no option.
Up here, it was never an option. And then I'm a runner. So when stuff don't go right here, I'll run. Like that's why I used to stay in Canton. Then I moved and I was in Warren. And then I go to Cleveland. Like I'll just leave from where I'm at. I always picked up and left. Well, when my son got locked up, when he was 14, it was like I couldn't go nowhere. When life started happening, I couldn't go nowhere because
Yeah.
he here, he locked up. Like who gonna go? Who gonna have him? So I was
Right.
kind of stuck here, and I was forced to like not be able to run, to stare everything in the face, and literally like do the work. And I continue to do the work every single day. Like this piece I'm working on right now is the broken belief system and then brokenness. And I done listened to it like 6 times. The Willie Lynch letter, the making of a
Okay.
slave,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I be into that because of the simple fact of the design from our community. Like Black men ain't respected in the households,
Right.
but it's designed like that. But then
Right.
our people, they don't look at it like that.
They don't
Like
look at it like that.
that's the issue. You know what I mean? Like the way that the woman is, feeling like unprotected, like all of that stuff was designed like that. And I ain't gonna lie, the first time I listened to it, I kind of cringed, but I was able to push through. And then I listened to it again and I began to reflect on my life in my household. And it's like this stuff that was way back in 1712. And
And
it's
it's
like
still working. It's
still
still
going
working
on,
now.
but now it's different. It's with the government. You see what I'm saying? Or it's with the environments that you in. We still be, our minds is still set up like that. So
Yeah.
for me, incarceration ain't just being inside of Marysville or Jackson Pipe or London Correctional. Like incarceration is actually mental.
Absolutely.
It's in the mind. Because when I was incarcerated, I was free before I came home. I was in a different space. I wasn't even looking at it like that. But
Yeah.
then you got people who out here and they won't even leave Youngstown. They won't even go to another side of town because they
Right.
got chains that they can't even. It's like the elephant that be having that rope tied to the chair, and got this big old elephant
Right.
move, and
Right.
that ain't holding you. But we
Uh-huh.
be so held down, and I feel like that's where it come from, and that's how they get the kids. Because when I came home, Antoine was just like me and Buddy. Everything that he saw, everything that we did, like, so even though I changed my life, his didn't. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? He
Like
had
you dropped
became
it and he
us.
picked it up.
And that's why I always tell people, like, you make decisions when you get mates, you choosing that mate for your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was in that relationship, I'm thinking it's cool. Antoine seeing me fight a man, like that put so much anger in him. Like he still talk about it, and he about to be 24. You know what I mean? Just like just make the kids just like angry, and it's like then
Yeah.
you got people like you doing this, so leave him where he at. And it's like, how do you walk away from something that you created? And I'm not even just talking about giving him birth. Like literally, the mindset that he adapted from me. I don't even understand how. This is why this parenting piece is so important that we do with the fathers and with the moms, because I don't even understand how you can not hold yourself accountable for the part you play in your child's life. You know what I'm saying? Or the things that they do. That's why I said this Men and Broken, this is ongoing. This is ongoing work because we pulling back layers of things that was designed to actually go against us. When I heard that, it was like, okay, so I was out here doing that. And then what do it say? And the mom gonna carry it over to the child. You ain't got this man in the household. They already removed him. So you
Mm-hmm.
seeing what I'm doing, and now you picking it up, and it's like, and that's how they continue to destroy our communities. But then that's how we continue to destroy our community as well, because we don't take the time out to read, even though we can read now.
Right.
They don't want to read. They won't even listen to it on audio. You will listen to
Right.
something that won't help you grow, but you will listen to stuff that's just like trash, like garbage. When we are what we feed ourselves, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I got. It was like when I went to prison, I had to redesign myself. It was like everything that I knew got me here. So that means I gotta unlearn everything. I gotta undo everything. I don't even know how to treat a man because I don't even respect men. I'm fighting my brothers. My dad ain't there. When I got with Carlos, man, it I thank God for his patience and his love. because how I was coming, it was just like crazy. And it was the mentality that so many of the women got, because you raised by these women, you announced your moms, you always hear you don't need no man for nothing, you can do, and it just takes you, it just don't have you in a space where you got respect for the man, and it's just like not cool. So when I'm saying, like, to go back from that, from pain to power, it's like the painful part is just walking in all of that, and the not knowing and holding on to that broken belief, like stuff don't even be real, but we think it because we was raised in it. That's a painful place to be in because it's undesirable. Like, it don't feel good. Can't nobody in the hood tell me that they wake up feeling and it feels good to be there. Like, there's no outside dream, or you don't see yourself doing more, or you don't look at your life like you cannot tell me that, because even when we in it, we know it's uncomfortable, and everybody 9 times out of 10, when you're hustling to get up out of it. You don't want to be in it. So it's like you got the
Right.
pain from staying the same, or you gonna have the pain of becoming. You just gotta choose your pain, but you gonna feel it regardless, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's the message I try to push. When I'm in them juveniles, is dear to my heart, because my son been locked up since he was 14. He ain't come home till he 28. When he come home, he got charged as an adult. When he come home, that brother gotta go, and he gonna have a a probation officer, and he gonna be on papers for 5 years. You gonna still have to be in that. When they come home from them juveniles, you got charged as juvenile. Even if you're doing juvenile life, you got an opportunity to go home and do the right thing. You got an opportunity not to make it to the big, to the adult facility. Like, you really, so when we talking to them and mentoring them, it's like that stuff comes from a place. Like, we serious about this work that we be doing, just trying to show the image. I'm sorry I don't got the other shirt, because I could have showed you. But just walking, the 13th Amendment, this is like the actual image. It's the side with the person being incarcerated, and then it's the
Uh-huh.
restored man on this side with his family, right? So
Yeah.
he an asset on this side, but he a liability on this side, allowing them to see that. Then we give them the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment talk about the only way you could be a legal slave inside the United States is if you're incarcerated.
You're
People don't
incarcerated.
they don't know that if they get incarcerated, they're a legalized slave. That's why they closing all the warehouse. That's why you working in there getting paid 22 cents an hour. You working 40-hour weeks. They closing
Yeah.
stuff down because slavery is still present. It's just
Yeah.
hidden inside of there. But if you really look at that stuff, you can see it. I mean, you would know, just walking on the yard and be like, this stuff crazy. Then we've got the other shirt that got like the Underground Railroad. Because what we saying is, if incarceration is the new slavery, then what we doing is the new Underground Railroad. Because I'm going to get my people. Because it's a mentality that got them in there. You know what I'm saying? It's not,
Yeah.
they ain't just in there because that's where they want to be. And with the Men in Brokenness piece, it's a soul piece. So I do heart work with them. We look at trauma. We reflect, on your past. How was you raised? How was your relationship with your mom? How was your relationship with your dad? Because a lot of our community, like that stuff, we come from toxic relationships. We come from dysfunction. We in the hood that's how I see it. I can't speak for nobody else, but it's like crabs in the bucket for real. Everybody
Yeah.
against
Absolutely.
everybody. You can't trust nobody. Like, people are in survival mode. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, anytime you in survival mode, you're gonna be grimy. Anytime you in survival mode, you don't care about nobody. It's gonna be, what can I get from this person? What can I do? What can I do? Like, that ain't how we supposed to live.
It's not. It's
So
not.
this is what I be talking about: nurturing relationships, positive relationships. You need relationships. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't about what the people can do for you, but what are you bringing to this inner
To
circle?
the table.
You know what I'm
Yeah. To
saying?
the
So
table. Yeah.
everything we talk about is the work that we need to do on our own self. And then that's the work that, a lot of people unfortunately ain't willing to do, because it's easy to look at somebody else. It's hard to look at you. It's
Right.
hard to take a hard look at yourself. It's hard to be like, man, you was nasty. Like, that's not cool. Like, it's hard to do that. You would rather be like, man, I'm in this situation because my mama ain't want to send me to school, or my mama ain't want to help me with my schoolwork. Like, that only gonna take you somewhere. But so far, I mean, I'm about to be 40. It's people older than me that still like be in that. Like, when you gonna be accountable for your own life? That's when you walking in power. When you being accountable for your own life. But as long as your life is in somebody else's hands, I don't care if it's the president, and that's good we on here because election coming up. You keep looking at everybody else. As long as you looking at somebody else to make your life desirable, your life ain't never gonna be desirable because you gave somebody else control. Now, the minute I'm like, I'm in control of my life, like I got the power to create the life that I want to live. Now I'm sitting here like, what do that look like? Because now I gotta write it down. I gotta see it. I teach the women value statements. Like, what's your values? Do you got some? Do you know how to say no? Like, what are you going against yourself? Like, what are you doing? Helping them just look at you. And it been fulfilling. Like the ladies, man, they love it. They love it because it's things that we don't talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no boundaries where we come from. People just
Dang.
doing, you know what I mean, though? It ain't
Yeah.
no boundaries. So when you get boundaries, when you got values now, you got principles you standing on, you reading, you taking time with yourself, you sitting down, you taking time with your kids. We have family meetings on Fridays at 6 o'clock where they allowed to sit there and be like, Serenity, what do you need from me? What do you need from Charisma? What do you need from Nene? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Serenity.
that's
I
dope.
mean, Charisma. What you need from me? What you need
That's
from
dope.
Serenity? Like going around and we sitting there talking about what's your goals for the week. Everybody write down everybody's goals so we can hold each other accountable. Like we ain't come from that. But just because I
Not
didn't
at
come
all.
from it, I can't create it. I can create it. And that's what I'm doing with mine. So
Yes. Let me ask you something because you touched on the Willie Lynch letter and a divine intervention when you were in prison and just that reflection time. Now you know how the Willie Lynch syndrome is set up, right? And then how the prison system is set up now. I believe you could tell me if you feel this way too, because you're in there now interacting with them. But I believe it's set up now so a lot of people won't even take the time to have that reflection because there's so many other distractions now. Like they make it pretty much easy to do your time now. You get the tablets, you get the phone, like you said, people playing cards, and you know what I mean. You get the video chat with your family and friends and all that. So it's almost like you just on timeout. You know what I mean? Like
mhm.
it's pretty passive compared to like how prison and the penitentiary used to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I think that it's set up now so it's like to take your mind off of damn, look at where I'm at, man. Like I'm rock bottom right now. To where now they sitting in there, you know, you're playing a video game or you're on the tablet, you're listening to your music and you just it's more relaxed, you know. You think it's set up like that by
It's
design or
absolutely like
yeah.
that stuff is designed to do that because if you think about it though, like they got the dentist in there, you can go to school in there. Don't nobody they got that stuff in place just to say we offer it,
Hmm.
right? But it's not something that's like pushed. You see what I'm saying? It's like people put stuff in place to just say it, but they already know because of the mindset that they are operating with, the mindset that they have inside of there. They know that them people ain't about to use it. You see what I'm saying? Like they don't want
Hmm.
them to do nothing else. They want them to be comfortable. I tell Antoine all the time, bro, you food. They eating off of you. You food on the
Yeah,
table. Sit
yeah,
at the table. Don't be letting nobody eat off of you. Every time you go in there, every time you getting whole shots or you acting like you're not doing nothing to intentionally become somebody different, you fool to them. Them people make money off. First of all, don't get it twisted. It don't always be easy to get it. It be some pharaohs standing in front of them, them counties and prisons and stuff that don't even be wanting to let us in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like they ain't really on that. I've been going back and forth for a minute with this particular one spot that is crazy. It's not even easy to get in there to be able to give you this. And then to
yeah,
come in there to be able to give it to you, and then you either don't want to take it or you playing. It's like I don't really be on that because I understand the seriousness of it. It's designed to do that. They want you to keep coming in here. They want you to recidivate. They know when you come
sure.
on. I sat behind in the control center one day And they was just looking at different, people on there, and they like, yeah, they'll be back, they'll be back, they'll be back. And I have been wanting to say it for a long time, and God allowed me to say it that day, because I was like, you know what, they might not be back. And then I started saying, I was locked up and such and such and such. And then they just looking at me, because now we in the same control center, we getting paid the same thing, we the same, but y'all sitting here looking at them because they on the other side, and you looking at them like they different, like it's some type of game. When I even seen that, it rubbed me a certain type of way, because at the end of the day, people is people. And anytime, just because I'm free or just because you free, Jay, like, we ain't really free because our people ain't free. You see what I'm saying? Like, I be in that space, because as long as they in there doing what they doing, and like they watching y'all fight and argue, like that stuff is play, is entertainment. It's entertainment. And if you think about it, way back then, the Willie Lynch, what did it say? Put this one against this one. Put the old against the young one. Put the dark one against the light skinned one. Put this one. Like, the same stuff still goes on. It go on in our community. It go on inside of the prisons. It still goes on. They're still using the same. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's why I keep telling people keep saying, fix the system. It ain't fixed. I mean, it's not broke. How is it broke if it's designed like that? Y'all worried about laws and stuff. I'm worried about the people. Our fight is not the same. I don't care about, I know that's a part, but that's somebody else's fight. That's not mine. Mine is to the actual people. Y'all focus on the laws. I'm going to focus on the people, because even if you focusing on the laws and you saying go get such and such out, but if such and such ain't changed his mindset, such and such going to be back in there. I would rather get such and such, help him shift, and then such and such ain't even got to worry about that, because now he done redesigned himself and he moving in a whole different way. You see what I'm saying? And then that's going to pass down to his children and the people that's connected to him. They're going to have to hear that, or they're going to have to get from around them. And that's just how that stuff works. But that's me. I'm like, get to the people. Y'all talking about laws, get to the people. The people is what's important.
Yeah.
And people, they just discount people. They don't feel like people. The most important, valuable thing on earth is people, man. Absolutely. I would rather invest in a person. And I'm not even talking about like even financially. I'm talking about like giving them some stuff that's going to help them really change the direction of their life. I would rather pour into people than anything else, because if I pour into this person going to go touch, get him, take him outside. This person going to catch, go touch 1,000 other people, then them people gonna touch, and it's gonna be a domino effect. If they can use this system to tear us down, why we can't create a system to build us all back up? Because that's the true power. And when we ain't in that space, man, we powerless. And I don't like feeling unpowerful. Like, I don't like that. So it's like that's not for me. I like to, feel strong in what I'm doing. I don't like to feel like that. So to me, the true power is in each other. In each other.
Absolutely. So during your mission and the development of your mind state where you're at now, do you feel like you outgrew a lot of people?
I definitely did.
Yeah.
I don't even, and even when I try to go back there, it's like my spirit can't. You know what I'm saying? Like certain conversations, I just like, I done tapped out, because you got to think, if I read stuff like the 4 agreements, the voice of knowledge, nonviolent communication, like just different things. So I don't want to sit around nobody gossiping. I don't want to sit around nobody talking about what they ain't got and how hard it is. I don't want to hear that, because my mind ain't designed like that. Like I want to hear about a solution. And if I'm just sitting around, which that's what mostly people be doing, just always complaining about stuff, and it's like I don't want to hear it. It ain't nothing to them. It's just I outgrew that. That's not where I'm at, and I can't grow off. I can't feed off of that. I went to the what was it called? The Lola Tomorrow. She do this millionaire challenge something, and they had all the different people come, and B Simone, it was her, a couple of other people, but they talked about energy, right? Mm-hmm. And they said, if you think about the 5 people you around, she said, I ain't telling you who not to be around, who to cut off, or none of that. She said, I just want you to hear me. She said, you supposed to operate at a high level, right? At a high level. Like you need 100% every day to function at your best. But if you
Yeah.
got this one friend that takes 60% of your energy, somebody you always got to pour into, somebody you always got to talk to, somebody you always got to uplift. Like every time they come around,
It's
it's
woe
something.
with me,
That
and yeah.
you gotta be trying to look at the other four people to try to get that 60% back that you just poured into this person. And if you find yourself trying to do that, like, will you get to the place that you think you're supposed to be in, operating like that? So it becomes that's not even personal. It's just like I need to be operating at a certain level every day, and what you coming with just ain't fitting. Like we still cool, but I'm gonna need you to come where I'm at because I can't come there because it's taken away from what I'm trying to get done. And I think that got to do that play a big part with relationships. You know, if people ain't willing to grow or willing to go, it don't make you better than nobody. It don't make you like none of that stuff that people come with. But again, that's still just like one of the agreements is don't take nothing personal. So it's
Yeah.
like, even with that, it don't got nothing to do with you. But yeah, you're gonna lose a lot of people on this journey. You're gonna separate from people that you thought will always be there. You're gonna watch people that you thought would never talk to you a certain type of way, talk to you a
Mhm.
certain type of way. And what I say to that is like, man, so wait. As long as they show themselves and you know what it is, that help you be able to stay focused. Cause at the end of the day, again, you connected to people. So you ain't got time to be worrying about what they talking about when you know it's somebody up the road waiting for you to show up. Like I'm connected to them. They can't move until I get there. When you
Until I
think
get
like that, you don't even be playing around with all the other stuff. And then it's lonely. So
it
it's a
is.
long, you
It
know.
is. It is. It is. It is. You know what? I was walking the yard. I was in Indiana. I was walking the yard with this old head, right? And we were just talking, and he told me, he was like, you know what? He's like, you know what, man? You're gonna realize in your journey when you coming into knowledge of self and self betterment that the more knowledge you obtain, the lonelier the world is gonna get because you're gonna start to have a low tolerance for a lot of BS and a lot of people. And some people is gonna make you try to make you feel guilty and
Mhm.
guilt shame you because they see you cocooning, they see you going from this caterpillar to this butterfly. They don't want you to change. You know what I mean? Because they feel like, shit, I can't change. If I can't change, then can't none of us change. You know what I mean? I always say, man, you just got to have that 3D vision, man, that dedication, determination, and discipline. And shit, coming from where we from, we like in the low percentile, making it up out of there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
then that's why I tied back to scripture because, and it's like, but I ain't even gonna say that because it ain't about like not putting it on nobody. Like we in some real hard times right now.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
people need their own relationship. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You need foundation because if
yeah.
you don't, when that storm come and shake you, you gonna be. Listen, if COVID ain't do nothing else for me, it helped me press into God more. Like I even was looking at some of the churches sideways, how people was responding. You know what I mean? And it's like when you feel like you can't trust nobody,
Hmm.
like you gotta press into God. Like that's some real life stuff. So in this time right now, like I just want to encourage that because you can't lose that. One thing about being in your word is understanding like who you are. You know what I mean? First of all, people always be trying to compare themselves to people. Like we uniquely designed. You know what I'm saying? For a purpose. Like nobody the same. What God gave you, He ain't tell me about it. It wasn't no conference call. That was Jay's call, right? But
Yeah,
and then I got mine. But if you study trying to tell people and they can't see it, they don't understand it. That kind of stop you from doing what you're trying to do because you're looking for approval from them when God already showed
right,
you. God
right,
already
right.
gave it to you. And instead of you taking what you know about you and walking, running with it, you listening to other people and then it's not getting done. Then you
Hmm.
got Jeremiah 1:5 that said, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. Okay, I could have a sad story about my dad not being around all the time or me having to chase him down to get something from him or my brother's doing this or me and my brother. I could say all of that, right? But if he say before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you, that means he knew everything about me. So I can't even use this excuse to why I'm not great or why I'm not doing what I'm doing. Like, word holds you accountable. And I think that's the biggest struggle with people, with humans. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't want the accountability. You don't want to look at yourself. You go back and try to talk to the parents and say, you know, when I was coming up, the first thing you hear, what you saying, I wasn't a good mom, what I wasn't a good dad. Like, they don't even want to hear, because people don't want to be accountable for the part that they played. And that's cool. But as long as you hold yourself accountable, you believe what the words say about you, you can see the vision. Hold on to the vision, because it ain't always stuff ain't gonna always make sense to why you going through what you going through. But as long as you believe and you know that you know what you know, like, it don't matter what nobody talking about. And that's what makes it lonely. Because now you got to separate from everybody, because what you saying and what you trying to get accomplished, it's like, man, whatever, you ain't gonna be able to, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't know, that type of energy is not gonna help you grow. So it ain't even just about becoming. It's like, the more you step into what you are called to, the more lonelier it gets, because God has you on a specific assignment. And if he ain't told you, then I can't expect you to know what's going on. But I also can't allow you to speak down on where I'm trying to go. That's why you got to be careful with who you share with and who you talking to. But I just think that, man, in this time, people need to get their own relationship. They need to get in their word. It was the word that shifted me. Not only that, I ain't never went through no drug classes. It was the word that delivered me out of that relationship with that woman. It was the word that delivered me from getting high. I'm asking God to take this taste out of my mouth. And you know what? That's a beautiful thing, because when you walk through something with God, ain't no going back. But if you go through a treatment program or something, you could fall back in whatever. But when you go to the source to get rid of whatever it is you in, ain't no going back. Why? Because the Bible say go back is death. You know what I'm saying? The next time you go back and try to get high, you ain't gonna make it out. Why? Because I delivered you from it. When you looking at life and things like that, you just move different. You move different. It becomes, you got a reverence for God. You know what I'm saying? You know too much to be playing around and just doing anything. You held accountable for the information you get. We can't read all these books and hear stuff, or listening to the Willie Lynn, and then you don't know shift take place. I believe
right.
Information or something come to me and I got an understanding, I'm held accountable for that. So don't be no hearer. You got to be a doer. If you hear something and you're supposed to be doing something different, man, you got to do it. I don't play with life like that, because I just feel like, and then you could jump in, but I honestly feel like this. We all gonna have questions to answer. I don't care what nobody say. However you want to live your life right now, at the end of the day, we all gonna have to answer about situations. And it's certain situations I don't want to be having to answer for. You know what I'm saying? So we can even go into it like this. I was a tire for church, right? But then I read this book that's called Born to Multiply by LaShawn Holland. And she talks about the slave mentality, and poverty and all of this different stuff too. Real cold, beautiful lady. But anyway, I have read her book, and in her book, it made sense to me, because if you get called, so she was talking about charitable accounts, like all these 8 different accounts, all these different accounts where you got a charity account where you would tie your 10% in. You got the vacation account. You got your household, like all these different things, right? And she said something. She said, you still study pouring all your money into the church because you was taught that way, right? That's back in the day, the grandmas, and this is what they doing, right? But then they lacking in other areas. She said, but if you took that same 10% and you put it in your charity account, she said, if somebody called you and needed you to go somewhere, but they didn't have the funds to do it, and you didn't have the funds to get there, but you knew you were supposed to be there, who is that on? Man, when she said that stuff, when I'm reading that book, that stuff was reeled in the mud, because I remember this chaplain reaching out in California. They had 3,500 women in the prison. It was a level 3, and he wanted me to come, but because it was a chaplain and they don't have funds in certain areas unless you go in a certain type of way. And I'm
Right.
like, man, if y'all pay for the, I won't charge y'all to speak, but if y'all could pay for the room, he like, we literally ain't got it. And I missed that opportunity. You hear me? I felt crazy than a mug, because if the door was open and I wasn't nothing stopping me from getting there, but a financial situation that I ain't got no business being in, because we are not called to lack. God, we is the highest form of creation. We can get anything that we want to get. It's not about
Absolutely.
having the money. It's about what you do with it. When that lady said that, that stuff made sense to me. So now it's like, I'm going to make sure I'm putting into the organization. I'm going to make sure I'm putting this to the side, because I don't want to get caught like that again. And that's what I mean by I don't want to answer them questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, you were supposed to be doing this, why you ain't get there? Because then what that sound like, it's going to be because of such and such, and we shouldn't have no excuse.
Shouldn't have no
We
excuses.
shouldn't have no excuse. We got everything we need inside of us to do what we need to do. We should not have no excuse. I'm listening to Bob Proctor earlier, and he said, I take the, you hip to him? Bob Proctor? Get with him, because he like on a Jim Rome level.
Okay.
Older man, but he was in 1960s, but he teaching. It's this one-on-one that he doing. He having this interview. He said, when I get a problem, he said, any problem, it don't matter what problem it is. He said, write it down on the paper. Make sure you get everything out. Like, whatever you feeling about this problem, why it's a problem. You addressing why it's a problem. He said, now put the paper on the table in front of you. He said, now, when you sit there, the first thing you do is look at the paper and say, is the problem on the paper, or is the problem in me? Because you trying to see if you still got anything in you that you missed, that you forgot to put on this paper. But he put everything on the paper. So he said, the problem is on the paper. And he said, well, how do I figure this out? This man said he sat there and brainstormed this way. He said, but then he got up and went to the next chair at the table and looked at it from that way. He was talking about the paradigm and how you shift your perspective. So as he put himself in different seats, he said, I physically moved. People lazy, don't nobody want to move. He said, I physically moved. I got up out this chair and I went to this chair and I went around the table until I got the answer. He said, the answer is always there. The only reason you don't get to the answer is because you stop yourself from thinking. The moment you tell yourself, I ain't going to be able to do this, your brain shut down. Why should I even find a way for you to even figure it out? And you already just said you can't do it. Like, the mind is so powerful. That's why I'm like, man, I just be wanting to talk to the people. Because once your mind get free, you free. You free.
Yeah. Because it's like you said, I agree with what you said. You definitely can still, you can be physically free on this side of the fence, but you still mentally shackled because you're just a product of your environment. You know what I mean? There's people that's incarcerated that's more free than people that's out here with us. You know, I know for me, when I was incarcerated, I look at it now as like a gift and a curse, because, man, I feel like it probably blessed me with even still physically being here on this earth, because it removed me from certain situations. And then it removed me. I look at it like a chessboard. It removed me from playing the game, and now I'm on the sideline watching the game being played. Like, damn, those are the moves I was making, and it could have been a checkmate. Meaning that I could have been doing a lot more time than what I'm doing now, or I could not even be here right now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, prison definitely helped me come into my divine intervention as well, sitting down and looking at it from the outside, looking in, from the inside, looking out, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just grateful for the experiences. I don't think ain't nothing wrong with the situations. It's only something wrong when you don't learn and you don't grow from
When
it.
you don't learn nothing from it.
Repeat the same thing, like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
Yeah.
not cool. There's no growth in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm grateful for everything. I mean, the the abuse. I was watching it's funny too, because my mind just operates like that. And then, I was watching the new Tyler Perry movie. I don't know if you've seen it yet. The Divorce in the Black.
No.
Okay. So I was watching the movie, and it was this part on the movie where I cried. Long story short, I cried, right? So the kids had Rennie had called yesterday. She was down there with my cousin. She in Youngstown, and she said she was asking about the movie, and I'm like, I cried, and she was like, "Why you crying?" I'm like, "Well, I can't tell you because y'all ain't watched it yet." So
Yeah.
I guess we watched this movie, and she called me back today while I had the little baby at Get Ear, and she said, "Mom, I just." Her and my cousin was right there. She was like, "I just need to know what part you cried on, because like I don't
Yeah.
understand why you was crying or whatever, 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 right?" And I had told her on the one part when she went through something, because you ain't watch it, so I ain't gonna, and I don't know who else watched it that's listening, but she went through a situation with her mate, and she drove an hour and a half home to her mom and dad. And when her mom walked in the room and seen her in her room, mind you, she grown, the way her mom met her, like in that moment, the mom didn't like the mate, couldn't stand the mate, the dad either. But she didn't care about that. She cared about what her child was feeling in that moment. And it made me realize I always had to grow up hard. You know what I mean? Like I never had that. Like I never had that soft space, and I even parented from there. Like I was watching a movie like, oh, I gotta go back and redo my conversation with, my child, because I didn't meet them where they was at. It's like, man, so what? You could bounce back, forget them, and da 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 da. And not understanding what they was feeling right there. And her mom, it was just, I seen the opposite, and I began to cry because I was like, dang. And thinking about it, like I'm 39, like I done had to be hard my whole life. Like
Yeah.
that's heavy duty. That I never had like that woman role model to go and sit and be like, hey, this is what, without people putting it where I could just be free. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? In
Yeah.
relationships with males, and you gotta defend yourself because he rocking you any old type of way, and you don't want to get hurt. And it was like I'm just never being free. But when I said it, my cousin was like, that's deep. And I'm like, that's just where I'm at now. Like the more that I pay attention to myself, it's like I don't want to always. My cousin Skip was over here the other day, and he like, man, I always watch you. You just bounce back from anything and did it. And he was saying it like it was a badge of honor or something, right? And as he was saying it to me, I was looking, but I was thinking in my mind, I never wanted to be that strong. I never wanted to be doing those things. This is stuff I had to do. You admire it where I'm like, dang, why life got to be so hard? And God, like,
Right.
your life ain't got to be hard. Just do it with me. That's exactly what I heard in the spirit. Life ain't got to be hard. Just do it with me. But always just feeling like, man, I got it. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it done. I'm not in survival mode no more. And the reason that I'm able to see all of these different transitions that I'm going through and paying attention is because I'm not in survival mode no more. I'm actually in a space where I can be soft. I can pay attention. I can be like, nah, that hurt. I don't like how you talking to me. I'm not dealing with you. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
can say that because now I know what I want, who I am, where I'm going, and I mean, just like all of that. But 39 years, like where I just got that revelation from watching a movie where it was like, dang, like how many other people go through that? That's why you end up in them type of relationships, because you looking for something. You looking
Yeah.
for something that you never got.
Something that
Know?
was missing. Yeah.
And
Something
how
that was
in
missing.
prison, the girl gonna be with any dude can just be, he ain't even doing that. He doing a little something here, might take her somewhere she ain't never been before, and now you walk in, and then be having the way like, how do you think that stuff happened? Because we chasing after something that's supposed like that by design. God created it like that. We supposed to have that. But a lot of us is missing it because we was raised in that broken system. You know what I'm saying? We was
Yeah.
raised in with that type mindset. So then you don't even realize how unhealthy you was until you redesign yourself, until you start paying attention to yourself and actually doing the work. Like I was unhealthy than a mug, dysfunctional,
Right. Right.
tripping
Talk.
like a mug, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Yeah.
I'm looking like, dang. And that's what make me be so about God the way I am, because it's like he came and got me at a time when didn't nobody want to deal with me. Everybody had turned their backs on me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I done did so much, and he like, I still got need of you. That's heavy duty.
How old were your how old were all your children when you did your time?
6 and 7. Antoine and Annie was 6 and 7, and then I had Serenity 4 days after I got to prison.
Damn.
And that was a God moment, Jay, because I didn't
Damn.
even qualify for the program. And
Wow.
mind you, though, I was supposed to get 7 years, right?
Yeah.
How all of that happened was just like, and it was at a time where I was like dogging God, like, I don't want to hear about him. People like, can I pray? I don't want to hear nothing. Like, I literally committed myself when I was in prison because it was so hard not to see him, like
Yeah.
not to see how he was working in my life.
Yeah.
I was supposed to get 7 years, but Cronin was my judge, and she had
Man.
all these DUIs, and
Yeah.
she got thrown off, and I ended up getting Evans, and he dropped the weapon under disability.
Weapons under
That was the
disability.
5 years. He dropped it because they had to open up all her cases. I already did 6 months far as county time, so I was sentenced to 18 months in the prison. When you go to prison and you got the baby, your baby got to be 18 months or less when you getting released. That's the only way you could be in the program. But on
Okay.
top of that, it's a process. So I
Yeah.
didn't even have time for the process because I'm high risk. I can't carry. So as soon as I got to Marysville and got to hell, and I went to see the doctor, and they knew I was probably there for 4 hours. They shipped me straight to Franklin pre-release because I was pregnant. 2 days later, I had the baby. I came straight back and went straight into the nursery program. None of
Yeah.
that stuff was supposed to happen. You see what I'm saying? Like, that was not supposed to even, I was trying to get an abortion, and I don't even believe in abortions, but I
Yeah.
knew I was going to do 7 years. And I went to up there on Market Street, ride with my cousin. This dude come get me in one with some 30-day tags from like 5 months ago. I ain't paid attention. I had it a month ago. But that was even God. We go up there. I do the first half the blood work. We coming down. We on Midlothian and Hillman, right
Yeah.
there by Burger King, and he
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
whipped on. But I had a warrant. So when they locked me up, I was too far alone. They talking about you got to go somewhere. I'm like, that's a whole baby. I ain't doing that. But I was miserable. I was sad. I was jumping up and down. I could not. I'm like, man, ain't no way I can have no baby and give her to somebody and go do 7 years. Like, I could not connect with that. I'm just being honest right now. Like, I literally couldn't even see it in my mind, me having a child and somebody else raising my baby for 7 years and doing my prison time like that. So
Yeah.
for Conan to end up catching her case, Evans to drop that, me to get there and get in the program. Heck, shit, by the time I got back, I'm in there with a whole new baby. Ain't nobody coming to get her so I can nap or nothing. I was like, Lord, here I am. Because it was just too much. Like,
Yeah.
she crying, and it's like nobody there to help you. Then you got Gore's 2.4, and I went to commissary.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I put her to sleep. I signed out, I went to commissary. I came back and went in my room, and her crib mattress was flipped up. If the drawers is connected to the crib, all the clothes was on the floor. Mind you, I only been in there 2 weeks. This baby 2 weeks old. All the floors, all her clothes on the floor, diapers ripped out, my bed, like almost like they like welcome here type stuff,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. Right.
Me, I'm still not processing that I'm in prison, yo. So I'm like, which CO was it? Like, I'm walking out the room.
Like, who
Jay,
just shook
like,
down
where
my
they at?
cell? Which one of y'all
Like,
shook
where
down
they
my
at?
cell?
And the ladies they like, hold on, what you doing? Like, you can't do that. I'm like, where you at? Because I'm on one, though. Like, I know you ain't just do my baby stuff like that. Like, I know you ain't just did that. Come to find out, some of the moms I was in there, they was buying, we couldn't smoke. Moms couldn't smoke. They was buying the cigarette packs, hiding them in the baby's diapers. So if you get any ideas, this is what we do type stuff. That's what they was letting me know. I could kind of see why they do it and how they do it, but I don't think that's a place for like kids, and that's why I sent her home when she was 9 months. Like, and that was something real hard for me because I had the opportunity to keep her. But if I'm watching little 1-year-olds walk around talking about count time, CFS, it's like, ain't no way this little baby first words about to be count time. You know what I'm saying?
So the baby can stay with the female up until they're 18 months. Say like if a woman is doing a sentence there, how old can the
The
baby be
mom,
before
the
that man
mom,
can send the baby home?
the mom have to be getting released by, and that baby can only be up to 18 months. So like if you got a sentence, say you get sentenced to 5 years, you automatically don't qualify.
You just qualify for the program.
Right. Because the baby can only stay till they 18 months, and they want you to be there. So if you come in, say you come in there and you 3 months pregnant, but by the time you had the baby and by the time you get released, the baby would be under 18 months, you can get in the program. And as long as you ain't got like no children's service cases or no children's service cases, you can get into the program.
Yeah.
But like I said, all of that was different for me. That's the first time I was incarcerated. I got a baby. Man, when I went in labor, first of all, they cuffed me from my hands to my feet and they put the chain in the middle. And I'm in labor though. Like my water broke. I'm in labor. They telling me to change. And then when I got to the hospital, Jay, I was on a whole incarceration floor. I never seen nothing like. I think this is why I go so hard about incarceration, because of the experience. But then when I went and when I was having the baby, I was cuffed to the bed. Where am I going? You got 4 kids, so you already know what it's like watching the baby come. Where was I going? And not only was I cuffed, one side of my body cuffed to the bed, but I got a correction officer that I don't even know that's sitting there with his back towards me like this. It was just like I never had a kid when my mom wasn't in the room, or the dad. You know what I'm saying? Like everything about how, and it lets you know that that's some slave type stuff because of the conditions and how they treat you. Like
Yeah.
the 13th Amendment makes sense. Like that stuff is really designed like that. But going through an experience like this, it was just like, nah. I got the everything that I knew before. I got to get rid of that. Like I can't do this. I cannot do this. But even in there, like if you Google my name, they came and did a whole news article on me and the baby in there because I wasn't like the other babies were going through like withdrawals and like different stuff like that. Where I was in there like just like a regular mom, just able to, but they did a whole little news article and radio article that's on Google for
Wow.
me and Serenity.
So it's some women in there with their children, and their children might be like 16 months old, 15 months old, because the mom is getting ready to go home prior to the child being 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
So with some kids that are in there, they're like 17 months, 16 months, but they're just waiting to get for their mom to go. Man, I couldn't imagine.
And they talking.
Yeah, I could.
They
Yeah,
following the guards. Miss B and Miss Dunbar used to hold this one little boy named Jacob. He was the oldest baby in there when I got there. And they would come in there and she'd be like, count time. Jacob be like, count time. And he'd walk across
I
the
couldn't
room to
imagine.
everybody, or they would come and yell and they'd be like, CFS. Jacob would be like, CFS. And I was just sitting there like, excuse my French, like, hell no. Nah. Like, really, this is not about to be her language.
Yeah.
Like, nah.
So the kids are in there. They learning about count time. It's
What you mean? That's what they
2.4 shakedown, commissary time, main line, child. You know what I mean? I couldn't
And
imagine.
not only that though, when they come to count, the kids gotta be in their crib. So say if you was in the middle of feeding the baby,
Yeah,
your
you
kid
got to
gotta be in
stop
the
with the
crib and
kid.
you gotta be at the door. Everybody gotta be in their space for them to count. And if you don't, you get the out of place ticket, right? But just think about you trying to feed. So kids screaming, you can't even grab just all of that. Like all of that. It's just you can't pick your baby up until they clear you type stuff. And you
Yeah.
just looking. It's like that was a different experience for me, for
So
sure.
even when they pass the cell and count you in the cell, you can't go pick up the child until count is clear.
Until they clear.
Whoa, that's
And
crazy.
it's like with the moms, they used to do it quick though. Like, cause you
Yeah,
can't come out and go to the bathroom or nothing, but
right.
it would be like after they go down this hallway, they go down this hallway. And it was like, as soon as they did the last one, they'd be like clear. So now
Clear.
you can move around and do whatever you're doing. So it ain't that long, but it's just the point of your child looking at you, they crying and you can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Or if you go to sleep on your bunk and the baby fall asleep with you, man, you get rolled up. So it's like, yeah, the baby was just there, but you can't really cut. You know how moms are with their baby, like you can't do that. And I just was like, yeah. And then they get money for them kids. So then, like when the doctor would come, they'd say 70400 and a half. That was Serenity. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a whole baby. Like, what you mean 70400 and a half? Like, she ain't did nothing. Y'all throwing her stuff around. Like, soon as I felt like we had connected, and I wanted her to know her father, and I wanted her to be close to Antoine and Nene, and I really wanted to go back home. I sent her home, and I went to Trumbull 2 weeks. That way I was like a half an hour away from him versus 3 hours. And then Marysville's so big that some months you can't even get visitation because it's full.
Damn.
So it's like, yeah. So yeah,
Damn.
just that whole experience though. But everything I do, man, I know it's not right, and I know it's not by design. Like, that's not what we was called to. It's so much more to us. And he can literally take any situation that you've been through and turn it around, and you can help somebody else, because that's what it's about anyway. When you come out, the Bible said when you come out, you go back and get your brethren. So if I'm able to overcome this mentality, if I'm able to be home for 15 years, going on 16 years, I'm able to be home and do this, then that means I should be out here doing exactly what I'm doing to go get other people, because that's scripture. Go get them.
Yeah, man. And I have a low tolerance myself for BS and just people being lackadaisical. I look at it as like, sheesh. I'm like you, Sheirra. I got 5 felonies. So I'm like, if I'm out here, and I gave the system 11 years of my life. So if I got 5 felonies and I gave the system 11 years of my life, and I'm out here doing something and maintaining, and it's all legal and legit, man, I don't have no tolerance and no patience for somebody that don't got no record and you're not trying to do nothing. Or you might
Right.
just have one felony on your record and you're not trying to do nothing, and you just came home a year ago, 2 years ago, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, damn, like, so what you out here doing, man? Just maintaining, man. You know, I ain't too much going. What's your
That's a
goal? You know what I mean? Like, what
yeah,
what's your goal? You making, and like I always say, your goal might seem astronomical or big now, but you got to chip away at it and just take little
yeah.
steps towards that goal. You know what I mean? If you're just looking at the big picture, like, man, I got to come up with $100,000 and spend 5 years, and every day you just like, woe is me, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. No, you got to take small steps towards that goal. You know what I mean? Nothing
Heck
is
yeah,
gonna happen
break it down in quarters. Look at
yeah,
your overall goal and then break it down in quarters. What you need to get accomplished. That's the piece I'll be teaching with the women too.
yeah. Nothing is gonna
Yeah.
happen overnight.
Do a year ago, a 3-year goal, and a 5-year goal, and then make sure
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying, that you can get it done. And you 9 times out of 10 you can get anything done, but you got to be
Yeah,
committed. You know what I'm saying? You got to be committed long after the feeling. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? When you
yeah,
ain't all excited about it, you
yeah,
still got to
yeah,
be committed. When things ain't
yeah.
looking right, you still got to be committed. When your money low, you still
You
got to
still
be
got to be
committed.
committed.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't waver. And if you do, like, the reward is great. The reward is great. But to what you just said, Jay, I don't even be having tolerance for people who do got numbers and say they can't get no job. Because no lie, I've
Man,
been working since I came home. Literally a
yeah.
job. I've been working since I came home.
Then she came home, right?
And then the same day I think Terry took me about 2 days after I was home. I
Hmm.
went down there and I took my STNA classes again. I paid, he went half with me. It was like $575. I took them classes, and I couldn't go to state board because I was a felon, but I was able to be certified. So that's how I was able to still do my home health care, do home health care and stuff. But I didn't come home with the mindset of I wasn't gonna be able to accomplish nothing. And that's why it worked different for me, because what I told myself. So they already in there counting themselves out in the joint, like, man, I ain't
You
gonna
giving up
get no
already.
job.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I'm
giving up
doing
already.
this, I ain't going. And it's like, soon as you get to talking like that, it's over with.
It's over with.
You
It's
know?
over before it even started. It's over with.
Yeah, them words is powerful.
Man, yeah,
You
people
done
don't
already counted
understand that.
yourself out.
You already counted yourself out. They don't understand the words are powerful, and you putting that energy out there that you can't do it, then why should the cosmos align for you to be able to do it? You didn't already said you can't do it. So mentally
Hmm.
you gave up, you know what I mean? And it just ain't gonna happen. So when you left the county, like for the females, when you leave the county, is it a reception or Marysville is just all in one? Like Marysville is the reception. Because you know, for the men, they'll go from the county jail to Lorraine and then to your parent institution.
Nah, we went from We rolled straight into Marysville, but that's what I said. Our hell is reception. So you be in
Okay.
hell for 30 days. Well,
Okay.
I bypassed hell because I was high risk. So they sent me straight to um Franklin Medical. So I
Okay.
didn't have that experience, the 23 one or however it go.
Yeah.
That I didn't
Yeah.
have that experience because I went straight to Franklin pre-release.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they ain't have no choice though, because like I literally, and I'm like that with all the kids. I can't carry my fifth month. I always usually start going in labor. So when I told them that, they like, hold up.
Yeah.
And how far are you? Like, we got to get you out of here. Right, right, right. And I thank God for that I didn't have that experience, because when I did get in hell, I was like, what the heck? They got the right name. Because what is going on here? Then I went to get something to eat, and I was like, I thought y'all said this was a women's prison. Jay, it was
Yeah.
this lady in there that went through the whole everything except for the last part. You know what I'm talking about? The last change. And she had the food, and I'm like, it's men in here too. And they like, Lord, I'm like, my first time in there, I was like, Lord have mercy, what's going on? I'm talking about full
Right.
beards and mustaches, like where she was really looking. I ain't know. I don't
Oh,
want to know. You know
she
what
was
I'm saying?
making she was making the transition.
She was the cook. I mean, she was one of the one putting the food on the tray. When we went to get the tray, but
Oh,
when I
okay.
looked
Okay.
at
Okay.
her, she looked just like you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. She had got
Damn.
the full changeover, but the last part that would have sent her to the men's prison. So
Hmm.
I'm like, I thought they was bringing me to a women's prison. Like,
Yeah.
like, who is this? They like, they like, yeah, that's a, but yeah, though. That right there, that for me, that was it. That's all I needed. That was all I needed. I think the worst part was I probably am a person who could probably like do my time if I want to sound all cool or whatever the case may be. But the hardest thing for me was being away from my kids. That was the hardest thing for me, because I never was that type of mom, and Antoine always was with me. So to have the somebody else taking care of your kids, somebody else putting their hands on your kids, somebody else talking to your kids, you know what I'm saying, any old type of way, and doing, just you not being able to be there for your kids. I don't even want to say control, but it was like that experience for me was just like, no. And that's exactly what I do when I'm in the county jails now, teaching men, because Men in Brokenness is a soul piece for women who are ready to own their truth. And I mean, like, looking at stuff dead in the face. I get this piece of paper and we do roles. And it's like, who are you? Like, as a mom, like, what are you supposed to be doing? And they get to writing down the caregiver, the nurse, I'm a teacher, I'm a Uber, they get to laughing and they joking in there. But it be the same women that go in and out the county, in and out the county, in and out the county. And they get to saying and naming all of these things. And I just ask them, who's doing it now? Because it's funny until it ain't funny. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Right.
because everybody want to show up for their kid. Your heart really be there, but your mind don't. Your mind and your heart is not on one accord. One accord. You ain't being intentional with your parenting, and it shows because you ain't showing up for your kids. When you
Right.
intentional with your parenting and you know what you want to do, you gonna be able to cut off the stuff that don't line up with it, because you already told yourself what you wanted to get done. That's where I come in at, with the clarify your life purpose piece and having them write it out, because it's like, now that you done said that this is what you want to do, the only person that's gonna stop you from getting there is you. Nobody else. So you got to figure out what it is that you really want to do, and and then get it done without making the excuses, because excuses is not going. They ain't doing nothing for nobody. And what Jesus say? He said, "Blame ain't the strategy for a meaningful life."
Right.
Like, I'm with it.
Right.
Like,
Right.
like that ain't about to help you.
So during your time, when you came home, do you think your time put a or were they too young for it to happen? But when you did your time and then when you came home, did it put a wedge in between your relationship with you and your kids?
I definitely did.
Yeah.
Antoine was calling me punks and soft and everything when
Whoa.
when we moved to click. Yeah, he I never forget. He brought this lady over there she was talking crazy to him. He's like, my mom gonna beat you up, and he go in there and she like, I'm coming too. Whatever he did over there. And she came over there and he was like, she said she was gonna put her hands on me, and I was like, well, what's going on? See, I never would have responded like that. You know what I'm saying? But you got to think, I had him at 15. Now I'm grown. I done did prison time. I done moved to Columbus.
Yeah.
I'm different.
Yeah.
That boy walked away. He said he hate me. He was crying. He was like, you got soft. You know, like he literally, I think that's when he really started to turn all the way up. Like he was so, me and Antoine was all, I'm going to just say it like this. We was always together. Like I didn't make him, it didn't matter if I was at the spot or whatever. Antoine
Yeah.
was there.
He
If
was
I
there.
was fighting or whatever, Antoine was there, right? Nene, she was more or less like she want to go with my mom. But I know that when I was gone, he had a desire to have that connection back. And as a child, you a child. He don't understand the growth. He don't understand the changing. He don't understand the experience. Even when we talk about it now, he be like, but Mom, you had something to hold on to. You had us. And I'm like, that ain't true. Like that, that's not my type of environment, period. You know what I mean? Like, so if he doing something, I'm like you ain't thinking. He be like, he always say you had us. And it's like, I think for him being a child, and this is what people don't understand is, I never parent from a place of guilt. And I always tell them that I'm your mom and I'm just, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. I'm not here to be your friend. I ain't trying to make up no time. Like I don't come from that place with my parenting. But I do understand, like as a child, what you was waiting for to show up. Your mom been gone for 18 months. What you was waiting for to show up to walk out. I came home a whole different person though.
Whole different person.
A whole different person.
They don't understand that sometimes.
Like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like his feelings was hurt.
Yeah.
So even when he responded like that, I didn't go and be like, I'm about to whoop your boy. Who you talking to? And I heard the pain behind the words. You know what I'm saying? I understood though. Like he waited all this time for his mom to come home, and then she come home, and he like, man, where's she at?
So
And I'm like, I even
in.
had to tell him like everything I showed you and I allowed you to see was wrong. He wasn't trying to hear that. Like, dude, everything I gave you was wrong. Like, it was wrong. Telling you can't cry. Just as a man growing up to be, just as a young man growing up to be a man. Just making you, like, because what did I do? You are raising broken children turning into broken adults. And I'm making you feel a certain, like, everything about what I was doing was wrong. I didn't know no better. I gave you what I had. Like, that's what I had at the time to give you. But you got to think from birth to like 10 years old, that's a critical time for children's development. Mm-hmm. So if I got locked up at 7 and he was with me all this time and he's seeing me jump out the car, I'm fighting, got crowbars, I'm shooting, I'm tasing people. Like he's seeing all of these people coming to the house, I'm selling dope. Like he's seeing all of this. Or my times when I'm peeled out, he having to, as a little child, climb up on the counter and get the bread and make him and Nene a sandwich because I might be in there on the couch passed out. Like I'll be talking real stuff. So you gotta think, wow, going through all of this and then you just come home like totally different though. What did that do to him? Because he used to be like, Sheirra and Buddy, them is my heroes. Like you couldn't tell him nothing. Like he like, I'm rolling with my dad. That's my mom. And then I come home and I'm talking about Jesus love you. This brother like, what? Like, are you trying to hear that? He was going to church. He like, I'm going in the balcony. He just now started telling me stories. Like, man, I used to walk out that church and go to the store around the corner. Like, because I'm like, yeah, y'all could go upstairs because they was older, but Antoine was not feeling none of that.
Yeah.
He was not feeling none of that.
Yeah.
Because it's like he didn't know it. It was unfamiliar to him. But it definitely, to the answer to your question, actually, and not only that though, Jay, if I'm honest, it put a wedge between the older two and the little one for a little while. Because they looking at her a certain type of way. You was in there with mommy. Why we couldn't be in there with mommy?
Yeah.
Like you ain't special. Like this is what you, and that played another part of me even sending her home at 9 months. Because I knew they was feeling a certain type of way. Because they would say it. So it's like, yeah, you absolutely though. Because
they would ask me like, Mom, why can't we be in there with you?
Yeah. Why we can't stay? So they ain't understanding that, man, I'm in a nursery program and only thing they see is mom had a baby. That's our sister. She ain't here with her and we got to leave.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't understand that. So I'll be talking about that too though, because it's something that you got to deal with, and you can't just blow them off like it's not relevant, because it is. Like what they're experiencing and how they feel, that's a real feeling. They don't understand. They got a child mind. 9 times out of 10, when these kids is acting up, that's just because they don't got the words for what they feeling.
Yeah,
They
they
don't
can't
know how
express
to
themselves.
explain
They
what
don't
it
know
is
how to
that they're
express
going
themselves.
through. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So yeah, absolutely. It was definitely work that needed to be done.
yeah,
Um, with the kids. Absolutely. Like it wasn't, I mean, especially when I started doing this and like taking it serious and starting to do like the men of brokenness, like you can't do this out. It started with your kids. It started
right,
inside your household. You can't go
right,
teach nobody else's household. You can't go tell nobody else. It got to start with you. So
yeah.
yeah, I had to sit down, and it was some conversations we had to have, and it's still happening right now because they don't got the same mom. So every now and then I might hear some stuff that you ain't do this when we was in. It's like y'all, they got a different mom. You know, the younger two don't even know the older two's mom.
And
You know what I'm saying?
that's how my younger two are. Like I know when they get older and they either hear stories or just do their own research, they'll be like, "Damn, my dad was in prison. I never knew that." You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
they don't have that dad. It's not, you're dealing with two different dads. You figure my first two, I had them at what, 20 and 22, as to compare to being in my late 30s and early 40s, having these two girls that I got now. You know what I mean? So your mind state is totally different. We're talking about two totally different people, like my past self and present self. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
know the older kids look at it like that, like, well, when we were little, you could have. It's two different people. I mentally wasn't
Absolutely.
there at that age. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And you
not to
can't
try to
hold
make
me
it.
there.
You can't. Yeah, you can't.
You can't
You
hold
can't.
me there.
Yeah, you can't. You can't.
Um,
Like I truly, truly apologize that y'all feel that way, and I get it. I understand. It might not seem like I do, but I'm just not that person that And it seemed
mm-hmm.
like for me, I would feel like I started to feel like, man, it seemed like y'all should be happy that I'm not that person that I was anymore, and I'm trying to do this with your younger siblings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how I feel everything you just said.
Yeah, yeah. You
It's
know
like,
what I
well,
mean?
you ain't happy for me.
Yeah, yeah. Because I
Like
know,
it
I
do
know,
feel
I
like that.
know, I know. I had a messed up, rocky, and broken relationship with my dad, and then I remember when I came home in 2008, and my dad had a younger son that was a little bit younger than my son. So he probably was like, I don't know, maybe 5, 6 years old. But I seen the relationship and I seen the effort that my dad was putting into my little brother. And my dad was a totally different man at that time from me knowing him in the past. You know what I mean? Like he's working, keeping a job, keeping some money in his pocket. And I'm seeing that he's doing the best that he knew how at that time to help raise my little brother. And I look at it because I'm like, man, I kind of had the experience that y'all had. My dad wasn't away in prison, but we had a broken relationship. I'm like, well, I wasn't mad at dad. You know what I mean? Like I was happy for dad when I seen it. All right, you're doing better with my little brother than you did with me. You know what I mean? And I felt happy about that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like the kids would be like, damn, well, you wasn't like that with us. Or you wasn't trying to stay free with us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's 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 the biggest part right there too, man. I'm telling you, that's challenging. I go through that
it
like,
is. It is. It is.
and
It
it's like,
is.
man, dang though, but like you can't expect me to give them a 15-year-old mom, and I'm third. Like it's just it don't even
Right,
go like that.
right, right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? It's
You,
like
you, you like
it's
like thinking mentally. I mentally think at it as like I feel like it's the opposite. Like you should be mad if I'm still trying to be that person. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you should be mad. Like, Dad, what the hell is you doing? Like you should be. You ain't letting it. You know what
yeah.
I mean? It's like damn if I do, damn if I don't. Right?
Absolutely right. And then that's the challenges, man. I mean, but they there. And the way that we get them into a good place is just taking time and sitting down and just like hearing them,
Yeah,
hearing what they saying, and then whatever need to be said or mended right there. Now, they ain't always gonna agree, and that's cool
No,
too. But what I'm
right.
saying is like after the conversation, you can't get me in it no more.
No.
It's like
Uh,
I ain't in that space no more. Like whatever
yeah.
you want, you gonna be on that stuff
Yeah. It's like
because like
get it all out right now, whatever you gotta say. Then you can listen to my rebuttal or my appeal. And after that you still feel how you feel, then hey, I'm mentally free of it, man. I
yeah,
done gave the energy that I'm gonna give into this. Hopefully you're
we can
gonna
all
come
come
around.
together and move
Yeah,
forward. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
Because
right,
that's the
right, right,
idea, but
right.
I can't
Yeah,
stay
but
here.
if not, I can't allow you to mentally keep me shackled to this situation. You know what I mean? Like I feel it's messed up that but nah, we can't stay here. I know I can't stay here. I can't mentally stay here because I got these babies to push forward and raise now.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But
And it's
yeah,
certain stuff that they don't see. And you know what, for real, that's why I don't if I'm honest, really like going down there because my 8-year-old, she definitely is raised like a whole different type of way. Her dad is so um present,
Mhm.
even for Rennie. But we do, even in the relationship, we still do week on and week off the shared parenting. So he get her for a week, I get her for a week. It been like that since I actually had her, right?
Mhm.
And she don't know certain things. So sometimes when I do go back home to Youngstown, and then that's what I mean, where they like, oh, you think you bet certain stuff she just don't be around. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right,
Just
right,
respect for her and her father though, and just where I'm at, it's like I just don't. It got to be something going on for us to go down there for real,
right,
because it's
right,
like she ain't raised in that. You know what I'm saying?
right,
She don't know nothing about hearing no gun or people getting drunk and fighting, and like she ain't
right, right,
to
right.
all of that. You know
That's
what I'm
how
saying?
my baby girls are. My 11-year-old, and my 5-year-old. They don't know nothing about that. Like square is a pool table, twice as green. So like Youngstown would be a total culture shock for them. You know what I mean? My 5-year-old
Mhm.
never been over there. My 11-year-old, last time she was there, she was 4 years old. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just a total culture shock. Matter of fact, the last time I took my baby down there, she was playing with you and Tori's kids. I took him down the street to see your mom, and she was out there playing, running around. She looking like, I'm like, go ahead, play whatever they doing. You can go ahead and do it too. She's like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like it was just a total
Mhm.
culture shock for her. Yeah,
Right, because Rennie down there now, and she do go because when I sent her home, she went down there with my mom. So her and my mom real tight. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
then like the oldest two, they and my mom. Charisma, don't get me wrong, she be wanting to go. I just don't send her down there like the other ones because I know she's not used to that
yeah,
environment. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
But my mom, the one who came and got Serenity from the prison, so they be cool. So she always go down. I just think she ain't big enough yet. You know what I'm saying? Like she goes if I go,
right,
if we go
right,
visit.
right,
And
right.
you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
cool. But yeah, nah, it's just different. It's
hmm,
just different. And I'm different. And I ain't gonna apologize for it. I love like the space I'm in. Like I like waking up and being actually happy with my life. I work from home.
yeah,
Um, unless I gotta go like meet a father or something. But the space I'm in right now, it's just like it's peaceful over here. You
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Like it
You
don't
gotta
nothing.
guard. You gotta guard your peace. You gotta
Remember
guard your peace.
Man, wait, I remember driving around, having to be looking over, especially when I was messing with dude and people knew I was, like cussing and had stuff. Like
Yeah.
I remember trying to drive back to the house and circling the block before I go all the way
Before you
home.
go and park and steady
Me,
looking in your
right,
rear view
oh my
mirror and
goodness. Like that stuff was it's not peaceful. That's why I
yeah,
said ask anybody who in it.
yeah,
That stuff ain't that's not what they want. That's just what they know. So
yeah.
they got to learn something different so they can do something different. But like, nah, like I was talking to my sister, Dana, the one day, and
Okay,
this was a
okay.
minute ago. Something was going on with sis was like, man, you know how to get it and I was like, man, check this out. I don't even know where I wouldn't even know where to begin. Like I don't even be around. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like them type of environments, like I'm good. I don't care what I go through. Like I'm literally not going back to that place.
Hmm.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and then it's like all the work I had to do to get from out of that, I'm still undoing stuff. That's why I can't put out the third book. It's called the undoing. It's so much more meat that need to go in there. And then this morning it's like my mindset shift. So I got the From Pain to Power relationship. Then I got Matters of the Heart, which is talking about the heart. Is more like a self-help book. But it's like this one is so much layers, so much undoing, so much wrong teaching, like so much wrong programming. Like it ain't something you did to yourself, it's what you came up in. And just because you came up in it don't mean like it's right. But people want to keep doing stuff because it's like, this is what I know, or my mom did it like this and did it. And it's like, but how did you turn out? So it's like that reflection piece is really, really powerful. And I don't never want to go back to that place. I'm actually excited about the woman I'm becoming. I can't wait to see who I'm gonna be next year. You know what I'm saying? Like when my birthday come, like that's my new year. I'm about to be 40. I'm like, I'm in my soft girl era, like where I ain't now trying to be hard. I'm like, I'm excited to see this person. So I can't be doing things that sends me back this way. I can't be around people who bring out certain things. I want to, if you bringing out something, I need it to help me evolve. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go back to that space. I don't want to see that old girl no more because y'all playing crazy because I done shifted and you thinking you still know what they do. You know what I mean? So it's like, be honest, Jay, like you still set up a certain type of way where you like,
Absolutely.
yeah, I ain't on that, but I could be. You know
I
what I
could
mean?
be
So let's just keep
ASAP.
it
Yeah, I
real.
could
Like,
be.
but I
Yeah,
could be.
yeah,
So, but because I know that I could be, I'm gonna stay away from all the people that could have me like that. You see what I'm saying? And I'm
hmm
gonna stay focused over here and continue to grow and become the woman that I know that I can be. It's so much more to me. Every time I do something different, I'll be like, girl, you dope. You know, like talking to myself, affirming. And I
yeah,
do it with the girls.
yeah.
Like affirm yourself and just like speaking to yourself, love yourself, just become. But uh yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited because it's so much more. Like even being able to say I was a correction officer or going there and teaching, I still feel like that's just the surface. I still feel like it's so much bigger than that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's so much bigger than that. Because he said that everybody gonna be touched. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gonna be impacted. Like it's just so much bigger than that. And I'm excited to see what's in store though, for real, for real.
absolutely,
For real.
absolutely. I got to get with you behind the scenes, tap in so you can let me know how I can start. I want to talk to the juveniles and the
Yeah.
younger kids that's in trouble because you know my culture I always said that you should focus on the babies because the grown-ups are set in their ways. They already been molded and set into who they are. You know what I mean? So I say for an adult, for a grown up, they gotta want it and come to it. Like you shouldn't go out and pursue the adult. You know what I mean? And try to change the adult. You focus on the kids, focus on the children that are in that situation because man, it's hard to relate. I know when I was in the pen, it was hard to relate to people that came in that wasn't of our culture. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So like
Hmm.
you might have somebody that come in and they coming in there from Lorain, Ohio. You know what I mean? In Lake Erie, and I'm looking at them. The shade might be the same, but it's like, nah, you ain't grow up how I grew up. You know what I mean? So it's
Right.
easy for you to say what I should do, but you don't know what I've been through. Like
Absolutely.
you don't know what my how my environment is. You know what I mean? I remember when I got out, I had a homeboy from Cleveland come and pick me up, right? So we come pick me up at the gates, drive me down to the town, to Youngstown. We riding around. We pull up. He like, damn, this joint look like the east side of Detroit, man. You got to get out of here ASAP. I'm right here in Cleveland. I ain't never been down here before. I ain't know Youngstown looked like that. You know what I
Mm.
mean? It's my first day home, and I remember we riding down Hillman. I'm looking at, like you say, just a bunch of emptiness and grass and missing buildings and stuff. I'm like, damn, this is what I was in a hurry to get back to. You know what I mean? It was just like I'm like a mixed feeling. Like I'm happy to be out, but like kind of a downer and depressing. Like, damn, look at this joint, man. You know what I mean? Like, just
Right.
look at the environment that I'm placed back into. But You got to be a special person to uplift and have the will to get up out of that mud and pull yourself up out of that type of town. You know, when the majority of everybody that's around you is just in a negative mental space or a hopeless mental space. You know what I mean? Like just and gave up and this is it. This all it is. It ain't nothing further than this. Why you trying to do this? Ain't nobody gonna make it out of Youngstown. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to touch on that what you just said because I know Los he like to go like with the men, and then I be thinking about like the women because they are usually left being the caregivers of the children. But I believe all pieces is so important, and this is why we had a little dude that we work with, and I mean, he was so awesome. He was doing so good inside of the facility. Then he had got out. He wasn't even out 2 weeks, and he got a murder charge with his brother
Hmm.
and somebody else, and they on the run still. This happened in January, and it was in Cleveland, right? So I was talking to Carlos, and I just was like, "Dang! Like, how can see? This is why we need more people where everybody working with somebody, and this is why I say restore the family structure, restore the household,
Mm-hmm.
because even if when you watch that movie that I was talking about, the new Tyler Perry movie, you will see what I'm talking about because the mom in there was like that. But some of the moms encourage that type of stuff. Some moms be
Yeah,
so hood, so on the street, so in the that even when this child is in here and they working and trying to, do something different, they still got to come home and deal with you. They underage. So I
yeah,
was just like, like going forward when we doing this, we got to figure out a way to pull the parents in too, so they can know that we serious on what we doing. And they can know what their kids really is in here working hard for and what they trying to do, so that they in return can start preparing the way for when they come home and helping them be on board. That's why I keep saying accountability, but it's like they are very critical to the child's development, because even
absolutely.
with us pouring into them, they can go home and they got the feeling like that's lame or da da da. You better go do. You know what I'm saying? You got some of these a lot of these moms make these younger children, males at that, be the man in the house. Like
Yeah,
that stuff
yeah,
is
yeah.
not cool. You know what I mean? So that's exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the Willie Lynch letter. That too. Like they feeling like they gotta do certain things. So it's like, and you got people like us that's wanting to pour, and then they still gotta go back here. They ain't gonna be incarcerated
Yeah.
forever. They ain't in
Right.
here forever. So it's like we have to figure out a way, and this is how the whole and the community can be impacted and turned around. See, Don Miguel in the Four Agreements, he called it poison when you putting in certain stuff, and then uh also always say like I got the cure, for the poison. And it's like this is why it's so important for us to connect with our communities. This is why it's so important that we touch everybody, because those kids got that mindset from them adults. You know what I'm saying? And if they got to go back to them adults, that's a hard fight.
It's
And
a
I
hard
don't
grind.
that the parents understand how much work them kids be putting in. One thing, your kid wants you to be proud of them. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? They
yeah,
want to be looked at a certain type of way by you. So you got some kids that had graduation that didn't even tell their parents to come because they knew their parents wasn't going to be believing or, rocking or even feeling that type of stuff. That was going to be phony to them. But
mhm,
remember when I started off at the beginning, I said I always felt like it was something different. Even when I was a kid, you
yeah,
always feel like it's something different inside of you. But when you ain't got the people that's instrumental in your life at that time pouring into you and helping you, 9 times out of 10, your life gonna take a detour before you get it back on track, because you ain't got people watering and encouraging you to be better. You know what I'm saying? They just
right,
trying to get by. They just
right.
trying to get through. You can't even say nothing to nobody kids no more. When I was a kid, like everybody was allowed. They like, I'm telling your grandma. And then Miss Johnson say something, then you say something
Right,
to
right.
somebody, they ready to fight you. They ready. It's just like it's sad out here for these kids. And then people always talking about these kids. And you know what? Ain't nothing wrong with these kids. They just ain't got no hope. They missing out on love. Like people don't even pay attention no more. You know what I mean? Like, it's not ideal to be like at the kids' games and doing like, look how it was when we was coming up. Vonnie Road, the field used to be jumping. The kid, it's like, don't nobody pay attention to that no more. The kids just raising their own selves. They ain't got the old grandmas that's making them go to church, that's encouraging them. Yo, they grandmas now is my age. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that. And you only got a select few that's our age with an old soul. Everybody else
Yeah,
trying to kick it. They ain't trying to be grandmas. They like, what you mean? Watch your kid. I'm going out tonight. I ain't watching no kid. Like, it's just different. The
it's
kids is
different.
they just out here. They don't have
It's
no
different.
hope, and that's why they don't care about life. They don't care about life. They'll walk up. Look at how. Just look at what you watching. Look at what you watching, and it's like they missing a lot. And even though we want to get to the kids, it's like, man, I still feel like them adults play a big part. Because that kid gonna act one way around you and then get around their mama and be like, they gonna be thugging. Why? Because the mama thugging. And she
Yeah,
like, if you don't go handle that, boy, I'm
yeah,
gonna knock your head
yeah,
off. You see
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So it's like, it's just a sad situation. But I do believe with everybody working together, all of us doing our thing, and yeah, we can get together on that though, because our mentors don't just be in Ohio.
Okay,
The one is in Maryland, so you meet with them because they inside of the facility. So you meet with them like we meeting, but they use
okay,
teams. So the facilities use teams or whatever the case may be. But I think that'll
okay.
be dope. But you get enough people trying and pouring. I mean, eventually it's gonna be the way that we need it to be, and this is why this type stuff need to be talked about. So hats off to
Absolutely.
you for the podcast, for bringing me in, for all of that though. Like, this is dope because this
Thank
is
you.
stuff
Thank you.
people don't pay attention to, but they really do need to,
They
because
really,
it
really
affects
need
the
it.
whole household.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You know what I be thinking about? Yeah, I know I'm getting old because I look at the younger generation, right? Say like, for instance, even with hip hop, it's just some music and some stuff I hear. I'll be like, oh damn, what the heck? Like, what is you talking about? Like, why y'all think
Mhm.
that's cool? Like, with some of the what they call it, the drill music or the drill culture, where they dissing the dead and they go into different enemies' grave sites, making videos, and yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy.
I'll be thinking about like, man. Now, this is the generation. You know how we say the generation that was ahead of us, they dropped the ball in teaching us, right? So now it's kind of like a domino effect because look at the generation that's under us and how wild they are. I'll be thinking about, man, if somebody don't get a hold of this generation, then imagine the next two generations that's coming behind this generations that's up to bat right now. You know what I mean? So
Right.
definitely, it got to be changed before it just come sheesh, man. It just come to an end. There'd be certain signs, and I don't care like what your religious belief is or what your school of thought is or whatever. If you read the Bible, the Holy Quran, the Pibby, regardless of what your book is, your religion, your school of thought, you can tell that we're getting close to the last days, like to the end. You
Mhm.
know, it's just certain stuff that you'll see. Like think about what you just spoke on television. Thinking about when we were younger with television, you might not see a show that had a four-letter word in it unless you had HBO, Showtime, or Cinemax. You know what I mean? And then
Mhm.
you might not see no nudity until even on one of those channels like that. You might not see no nudity until like 10 o'clock. Now you hearing four-letter words and seeing nudity on FX and Fox at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, a station that anybody got access to. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just so much, man. Like with the social media, the cell phones, the television, you really, really, really got to pay attention to your children and what your children are into. You know,
Absolutely.
then with
And
the
the
other agendas,
programming.
yeah, the programming and the other agendas that they trying to push on, and this is where I stand with this. I want to touch on this real fast. This is where I stand with this situation with another community. I feel like to each his own, to whatever anybody do in the bedroom, to each his own. I'm not against whatever, but I feel like don't try to push that agenda or that message like on our children that are still in elementary school. I'm gonna give you an
Yeah.
example. My daughter was in either kindergarten or first grade. They sent a letter home and they said, yeah, on this certain day, such and such is gonna come up to the school, come up to the classroom and talk to the children about the LGBTQ community. My daughter in the first grade. If you don't want your daughter to be a part of this, she can sign this thing, and then they'll just remove her, and she'll be in a different classroom when they teach about it. No, how about my daughter just ain't at school at all when this is going on because I don't want her to feel like she's not a part of something, and I don't want her to feel different. But then my main thing is like, why are y'all teaching this to elementary school kids?
Mm-hmm.
Pass this amendment where you say separate God and state. So you can't even say the pledge allegiance at school anymore because it says in God we trust. But y'all could push this.
That stuff crazy.
It's
Trying to keep
crazy.
it mixed. That's what I'm saying.
It's crazy. It's
That's why what
crazy.
we do at home with our kids is very important.
Very, very
Very
important.
important.
Very
You know what
important.
I'm saying? What we put in their heads and their minds, what we talk to them about, like, is very important, and people need to do that though, because
Yeah,
like the school, the system, the school system, social media, like they misguiding our kids. And if you ain't got
totally.
a strong enough relationship, or your
Yeah,
kids ain't listening, it's like they gonna be influenced in a negative way
in a negative
because that
way.
stuff ain't even real for real.
It ain't. It's not. It's not. It's not. You looking at a freaking 6-inch screen of a reality that people are projecting to you where they want you to think that they happy. But
Mm-hmm.
life ain't happy 24/7. So that's a lie. What you saying that's totally a lie. They could be doing a
And that's why you be
goddamn
having the ones committing suicide, and everybody like, I didn't
yeah,
even know he was feeling like that. I didn't
yeah,
even know. It's like, yeah, because y'all didn't give him the opportunity to be feel seen. Y'all
hmm
did. This is what you look for in people. Like, you don't even
hmm
give people an opportunity to be themselves. You know what I'm saying? To chill. You put them way up here like they not people. That's why I don't let people do that to me. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Because that's the stuff that make you bug out when people project how they want you to be. You know what I'm saying? Or
right,
they idea of you, like
right,
they make it like people ain't human no more, or they ain't
right,
cool. You know what I'm saying? Or I gotta be doing this, or you ain't trying to, you, or people ain't gonna follow me. Like I'm people, most of them
yeah,
people just to
yeah,
keep followers. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? They don't even
yeah.
be the real them. They
It's
be
not even a
masked like a
real
mug.
them. You right, right,
You know what
right,
I'm saying? Like masked like
right,
a mug. And it's like, but then
right.
you will see it, and the kids watching it's like, oh, that looks sweet. Or they can be on there with their parents' car or something and acting like it's theirs, like doing whatever
hmm
they want to do. And it's like now the kids looking at it, and that's where they at. It's like that stuff is not real.
It's not real.
People can show
It's
up
not.
however they want to on social media.
hmm
They can do whatever they want to on social media. They can sell any story. They can just do whatever they want to.
Do
Especially
whatever
they
they want to.
yeah now. Now you got people like I'm like I don't even teach his own on that too, but I ain't playing with none of that stuff either though.
She said, I ain't playing with none of that shit.
I just don't
I'm gonna
trust none of
tell
that
you, I
stuff.
don't know how it is over there. I'm gonna tell you how crazy it is here. Over here, you see that flag on churches and inside the schools, like elementary schools and middle schools and high schools. I'd be like, I ride past the churches. I'd be like, damn, I wonder what Bible they reading out of in there. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, that's wild. I ain't ran across that yet because
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'll send you some pictures or just
that's
FaceTime and
wild.
show you. It's wild. I'd be like, well, I wonder what Bible they reading out of. 'Cause I know it's about 24, 25 scriptures in the Bible that talk about that's in the Bible. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
don't do that. So I'm like, I wonder. My mom was like, they might not even be reading out of the Bible at all. It might just be
Oh
off
yeah,
of the
for
top.
sure. A lot
Yeah,
of people just trying to conform to the world, just trying to get in where they fit in, and using his name in vain
yeah,
to project to push they, what
yeah,
they
yeah,
trying to do though. But like I
yeah,
said, again, that's why it's important for you to know your word, know the word for yourself, so you can know when stuff ain't showing up right. And I just be looking like that's wild,
yeah. It
like
is.
that's wild
It
to do
is.
that at the house of God. That's wild.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show
That's
you. It's not just one. It's like several churches out here. You'll see that joint hanging outside the church along with the USA flag. Be like, whoa, wonder what Bible they reading out of, man. It's crazy.
scary
It's crazy.
times.
It is. We're in some weird, scary times.
Very times. times. And you know what's even worse with it is,
What?
I mean, because you just said it, like I wonder which Bible they, but they not. You know what I'm saying? That's not God at all. And but what's so sad about it is people running around, they looking. You know what I'm saying? They thirsty, they trying to get it, and then they run into this stuff because it's looking like, oh, this is for me, and you being
Right,
deceived. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
And you being misled. The reason that you being misled and you being deceived is because you don't know. And it's
You
on
don't
you
know
to
better.
know. Like you gonna be held accountable for not knowing. The people
Hmm.
who deceiving you gonna be held accountable too, but you gonna be held accountable for not knowing. I know for me, when I used to go to church, I would literally leave church and go home and reread the scripture and ask God to give me an understanding because the pastor just preached it. It sounded good. I felt good, but I
Hmm.
don't it's not a part of me. I don't understand. So now I need to read it for myself. I need to get an understanding for myself so that I got
Right.
something that I can stand on. So I can challenge the word. But it's like not challenge the word, but try the spirit by the spirit. But if I don't know for myself and
Yeah.
I'm just going to church to feel good and to run around, and that's what most people doing in church anyway. They going in church and like even when I was listening to the Willie Lynch letter and was thinking about the church, it's like even the times that we in now and not mine, I'm gonna put that out there. My
Yeah.
church, but a lot
Yeah.
of church, they not word churches. You see what I'm saying? Like at my church, you gonna find a financial class. You gonna find like they gonna break some stuff down. They not just trying to get you excited. It's workshops and leaders. It's stuff going on for you to learn. But a lot of these churches, they just helping people get through week by week, and it makes you think when you watch all the little slavery movies, and they got them just up there and making them feel good to go out there to be a
Mhm.
slave again.
For
Just to
sure, for sure,
build
for sure,
strength to be able to
for
make it through
sure.
the week. A lot of
Make it
people
through
is
the
reaching
week. Yeah.
that place, and that's what I'm saying. Though when I'm saying that's still bondage, that's still
Mhm.
incarceration. You still bound. You're not free. You going to church and you feeling good, but you ain't really got nothing that's transforming your life. It say
Mhm.
be renewed in your mind. How you being renewed if you don't know the word? How
Yeah.
you
It's
been in
pretty
word?
much just
How
a
you been in church
just
for
just a
15
weekly
years and
high.
then you don't even know how to pray? You know what I'm saying? So you showing up because I'm supposed to go to church on Sunday. I'm supposed to go to
Mhm.
church on Wednesday. It's Bible study. I'm looking good, but I ain't got my faith is still weak. Or I don't know how to pray, or I can't cover, or you walking straight out of church and you going to do some other stuff. Like you ain't even connected to it. Like church has become something that people do because they know that that's what they supposed to do.
That's what they
And that's
supposed
what
to do.
make it be like, COVID come and you seeing how everybody just was with that, like the fear that came out of people. And it's like, how? And you talk about this all powerful God that can hide you in his secret place in the shadow of the most high. Like Psalms 91. You talk about all these things, and the moment something is in your face, the moment something hits you, the moment something is unfamiliar, you don't know it, then all you see is fear. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what the government do. Even if you think about George Floyd, they always trying to put fear on us. They always want us to see what they want us to see so they can be distracted, so we can be distracted.
Yeah.
So now everybody
Yeah.
paying attention to all this other stuff, LeBron and Brownie, which kudos, big ups. You
Yeah.
thinking about Ashanti and Ellie. They got all this different stuff they
It's
talking about, but ain't
distractions.
nobody talking about
Distraction.
what Trump trying to do. Ain't nobody talking about
Distractions.
Project 2025. Nobody's talking about real live things. They're
Yeah.
distracted.
It's
And even
distraction.
though I don't really care who the president is. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about that because I just look at God. But you should have wisdom. We should know what's going on. You should be knowing what to expect, how to prepare, things that you should be doing. But nah, they keep us distracted, and then stuff happen, and then you look up and ain't nobody got nothing. You know what I'm saying? They give you all this money and you go shopping, you go get fake body parts, and you doing all of this, and then you ain't got no food. You see what I'm saying?
Right, right,
You
right,
ain't
right.
got no house goods. You don't got
So
things
you got a BBL
to
with empty
be
cabinets.
able to maintain if something happened. And then I hate when people like, God gonna take care of me. God already taking care of you. God has taken care of you. When he created you, he gave you everything you needed. Like it's not his fault that you ain't tapping into who you are. That's not God's fault that you laying down blaming everybody else.
Right.
Like, you supposed to be aware of what's going on. You supposed to be paying attention to your life. You supposed to be taking care of your kids. How you can't have food if you ain't got no food stamps? If you ain't getting no stamps, you just ain't got no food in the house. That's a
Yeah.
mentality. So now
That,
it's becoming the government is the oppressed. But what is going to happen when they take all that stuff away from you?
when they take it away, they hit
I
that
don't
button
like
and take it away. I don't
I,
like it.
I
I don't
literally
like
don't like it. They get you low income housing. But while they're giving you low income housing, they give you a utility check. They tell you to get on PIP. Even though you're paying $10 a month, your electric bill can be $100, and you paying $10, which means you still got $90 on the back end. All of this stuff is a
back
setup.
in.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They putting you in this
Yeah.
house and they give you a utility check, but they ain't teaching you how to budget. They ain't teaching you how to do finances. They ain't teaching you how to get your credit up. They ain't teaching you how to be a homeowner. They ain't teaching you nothing. They literally sitting
Not,
you, and you think you got one up on the government. Oh, you
yeah.
good. I got second.
You
I ain't gotta worry about nothing. You and with that mindset, it stops you from being able to handle certain things that you need to know how to take care of. So when they take it from you, if it all just be like, oh, we can't do this no more, where the people gonna be at?
you lost because they don't have
You
no
have to see
financial
people.
literacy. They don't
Then
have
you
no
got the
financial
people
literacy.
who don't want to do the work, that's gonna try to rob the people who did do the work, because now
Right.
you ain't got
Right.
it. Like, that stuff is not cool. But it's a mindset. It's a poverty. It's a mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't. It's only our community that don't prepare for things, that don't, pay attention to certain things, though, like, that be distracted by some old goofy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Y'all always want to do TikTok dances and what's going on social media, and you were more worried about love and hip-hop or whatever them shows is called. You know what's going
Right.
on more with them people on TV, but you don't even know what your kids' favorite
You don't
color
even
is.
know what's going
You
on
don't
in
even
your
know
house. Yeah.
what they like. You don't know any of this, but you know all of that. Like,
Yeah.
ignorance is a choice.
Absolutely.
Staying in trauma
Absolutely.
is a choice,
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
you are in control of everything that concerning you. So if you don't
Absolutely.
want to be ignorant no more, go and educate yourself. Like, that's
Yeah.
not nobody else's responsibility. If the school ain't teaching them, they don't even teach them handwriting. You know what I did? I got on Amazon.
Yeah, they don't. They
I
don't
ordered
anymore.
a writing book, because how
Yeah.
y'all going to sign for permits and IDs and you don't even
Yeah,
know?
they don't know how to sign. Right. They don't know how to sign no more.
And the only thing people can say is, man, they ain't teaching it to our kids no more. So why you ain't teaching it to the
Why you
kids?
not doing it? Yeah, why you not doing it?
Like, I don't understand that. Like, everything is just is always about the other person. But like I said, it's a mindset, and I don't think it's intentional. Like, people don't do that on purpose. I was once that person. That's why I could speak to that. That's why I know when people playing around, you playing, because I used to play. You know what I'm saying? And 9 times out,
Right,
what I
right,
tell people now
right,
is, you can't try to run game on a person that once had
right.
the same mindset as you.
But they
I
say
know that stuff.
you can't con a con artist. You know what I
I
mean?
know that stuff.
Yeah,
I know that stuff.
can't con. So with that being said, what's your plans? What's the future plans for the Stars Within organization and the Amen Brokenness? What's the future plans and the goal for both of
Stars
them?
Within organization, we just continuing to move forward. I don't really want to go into detail of the future
Okay.
plan, because I'll be like, we can do that off of here.
Okay.
But just
Okay.
continuing to grow and continuing to stand up, and just, it's a movement. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? It's literally
Okay.
a movement. And the
Yeah.
duplicating the story 1,000 times 1,000, like, it's a movement. So it's continuing to move. But I do see it in a different light. I do see it being bigger than what it is. And it's actually like a game changer. I'm excited. I just don't want to
Yeah.
put it out there. So
Gotcha.
we had
Gotcha.
talked, but the Starts Within
Okay.
organization is going to continue to move and continue to turn the penitentiary on its head and stand the community on its feet, because that is the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
Continue to touch the minds of the women, the fathers, the children, just everybody as a whole, because that's our mission, is to restore the family structure. And until we see everybody's lives like that, we're gonna keep on moving. And it's
Yeah.
the same thing for the men and brokenness piece, but that's more or less for the women, which I feel like it's the men need it too. Don't get me wrong, I have done it with some of them for as part of the caseload but really for the women, because we come from a lot of brokenness, especially the ones that don't have the males in the household, and that's big for us. So just continuing to heal, continuing to grow, continuing to become whole, so you can pass that on to your children, so they don't got to grow up and go through the same thing that we went through. So it's just continuing to put that work in and continue to touch as many people as we can. Um, with the help of the community. So that's why I said we
Absolutely.
definitely got to connect afterwards, because you
Absolutely.
got the same story. And one thing I love about the Starts Within organization is everything about it is the mentors have to be been incarcerated before. You got to be able
Okay.
to connect. So you got all this
Okay.
stuff out here that's like, you can't do this if you got a felony. And it's like, well, people who ain't never been through nothing can't be a mentor. You can't be a
Yeah.
mentor. So
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
the game has changed. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Now
Even
the
when we
roles
looking
now
at
it's reversed.
housing, what I was telling Lokes about housing, even when we looking at that and starting to get into that piece, it's like that's gonna be a place for them, because that's a lot of stuff that I see doing case management. They don't got nowhere to go. So I can see a facility in the near future, and it's only gonna be for people who was incarcerated and they done went through the 52-week long walking logo program, and they done did the work, and they can be in these apartment complex. That's gonna be different. That's a game changer, because now you got people pulling up like, can I put an application in and stay in here? And it's like, what's on your record? And they like nothing, like, oh, you can't be here. You know what I'm saying? This is
Right.
for people who are second chance homes. These are for people who trying to start over again. Like that all within itself is a game changer to me. It's a game changer for
Absolutely.
sure. Because when you see people like me, you see, different people's stories who done went through. It's like we already showing you that we people just like you. And just because we was incarcerated, or just because we lived our life a certain type of way, don't take away from who we are. I don't like the word inmates. I don't like people being looked at like they ain't human, because the only difference is you ain't never caught no case, but I'm sure
That's
you
it.
did something in your life
You
that
did
could have
something
got you
in
incarcerated,
absolutely.
or you might
Absolutely.
have known somebody who knows somebody how you didn't get in. But don't never look down on nobody, and everybody is valuable. God has
Everybody.
need of all of us. We all got purpose. So continuing to push the movement, continue to be a light in this dark world, because it's dark in this world and inside of them institutions, and continuing just to be led and do the work that we was called to. Because I know I was called to this. So it's like it ain't gonna stop. It ain't gonna stop until every family is restored, everyone is free. Like, and as long as I keep my mind like that, if it ever happen or not, it's gonna always keep me in a place to keep on going. You know what I'm
Keep on
saying? To keep
going.
on
Yeah.
grinding, keep on
Yeah.
grabbing. Because it's
Yeah.
like we can't stop yet, because everybody
Right.
ain't free.
You got to keep that 3D vision, dedication, determination, and discipline.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, what's up with Howard's nephew? You think if you talk? Of course, you talk to him. It's your son. Is he mentally ready?
Oh yeah, so yeah, his first couple years was rough. I would
Yeah.
say I want him to do all his time, because I feel like
Okay.
it's some residue.
Okay.
But
Okay.
overall, it's good, because like we sent him books. He got the books. He got the Prison Without Bars books. He got the Walking Logo book. He got the From Pain to Power book. He got the Four Agreements. Anything I get, he got that information. So
Yeah.
it's like me, I'm more or less on redesigning his mind, and I think
Hmm.
he's doing real good.
That's
So
good.
with that being said, I think he gonna be ready when he come home, as long as he make the decision to be ready when he come home. But if he want to keep playing a little bit here and a little bit there, or doing whatever he want to be doing, it's like your life will reflect that. That's all I tell him. So he
Yeah.
say he ready. I say, finish your time. My prayer is, God, I want him to come home with his heart and mind right. I ain't one of them moms talking about free twine. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
if he ain't
Yeah.
ready, then
Yeah.
free him away. Like, I don't want him to come home and catch a case. I don't want him to come home and something happen to him. I want him to come home when he ready. So
Yeah.
whenever he get released, he gonna be ready. Because it been 10 years. I've been on my face. Antoine has definitely strengthened the prayer life, Jay.
Yeah.
He has definitely strengthened the prayer life For
Yeah,
real. But I do think him going in there at the age of 14 with adults, I do think that could have probably went a different way. I don't feel like it did help him, but I know God, I'm trusting him. I know he be reading. He is in the honors dorms. He doing real good right now. So
right.
like I said, when it's time, it's time. But you know, he can do anything. He changed my life. He changed your life. He can do it for him too.
Yeah, yeah. Is he in Belmont?
He and Russ.
Okay, so he's still medium level three.
Yeah, he's here. And he
Okay.
right here with me. So he only like 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, he only like 45 minutes.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, he good. He look good. He look healthy. Look like a grown man.
Yeah, yeah,
It just
yeah,
make my heart smile. I always share the picture with me incarcerated and him coming to see me, and then it's him incarcerated and me going to see him. And
yeah,
I keep saying they ain't ready for this story. They ain't ready for this story because that's gonna be something all within itself. Because like Antoine, when he said he want to come home and with the juveniles, work with the juveniles. That's what
mhm,
his mind is kind of at. The ones at risk for being tried as adults. You know what I'm
right,
saying? And
right.
I just think that that's going to be even more powerful because when you think about what type of kid Antoine was and what he did in them streets, like
Yeah,
that stuff
yeah,
gonna read. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying? As long as
yeah,
he do what he need to do, like that's gonna be so powerful. So that's the only thing that I can see. I don't really pay. That's why I call him the promise. I don't really even pay attention to the stuff that goes on in between, or where he be at, or you know what I'm saying. If he playing 1 minute or what, nah. I only see what I see, what God showed me, and that's why I call him the promise. But he gonna be a beast, far as being able to do that work in the community. That stuff is going. Them kids gonna be able to hear that, just
yeah,
like you said, they gonna hear that.
yeah. They're gonna relate to it too.
Yeah, and hearing like all that time. Like his dad died 2 days after what? 2, 3 days after he got sentenced.
Damn.
Then it's like losing all of that, going through all of that, being able to overcome all of that. Like, I don't know. I don't know. That's a lot.
It's a
That's a lot.
lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
You're a 14-year-old. You went in as a 14-year-old, you come home 28. Grown man. Grown man.
Yeah,
But that's why I tell them juveniles, y'all don't even know what y'all put your moms through on the 16th birthday, the 18th, the 21st. It's like I be sick around here. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like
yeah,
real, like that was a loss for me. I be sick. And I can't wait to see him. I want to see him in the form that he's supposed to be
for sure,
in the form he's supposed to be in.
for sure, man. Well, I know this is your first time, but it definitely won't be your last time on here.
This was good.
Yeah,
I
it was. It was. And it's
yeah,
always open anytime you got something that you want to present to the world or you need help pushing out to the world. Hey, I'm here for it. I'm down with it, and I'm here for it. Thank you for coming on, and give me the opportunity to talk to you about what you got going on.
yeah, thank you for having me. This
For
is dope.
sure,
I definitely be back.
absolutely, absolutely. You want to give the people anything like where they can reach you at, social media wise, or anything like that?
Um, I want Sheirra Haines on everything, but what I really want them to tap into is the website. Sign up for the newsletters. You know, we got books, we got shirts we push, we got all of that. That's cool. You will see that. I'm really more or less pushing the mission, and the message. So is it on? Nope. But www.startswithin.com. Really get on there and look at the work we doing on YouTube. Like really look at the work that we doing. And share it with your children, share it with people that it may be good for, but just continue to share the message and continue to help with this work, because it takes a whole community, literally.
Yeah,
Just like what we was talking about, it takes all of us doing it, and it's not just for It's not a issue for one person, because you got to think, like, when people get incarcerated, y'all paying y'all tax dollars going to that. It's
Sure.
a everybody problem. It's not just our problem. It's a problem for everybody. So just tap into the organization, subscribe to our newsletters, support the mission any way you can, whether it be your time, your talent, whatever. Just look into that. Tap into that. So if you pull up Starts Within or I'm in Brokenness, we'll pop up. I'll pop up.
And that's it. Going across the bottom, startswithin.com.
Starts, STARTS. You and your little
But I fat fingered, I
that
fat
little
fingered,
word.
I definitely fat
Uh-huh.
fingered it, man. Ah,
That background dope too, by the way.
thank you. Oh, why ain't it going? There we go.
Yep, there you go. That's
There we
it.
go. There we go. There we
Just
go.
tap into the website, pull us up, on. We everywhere too, though. Social, I mean, Instagram, Facebook, um, TikTok,
Okay.
Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Whatever they got, you there.
whatever they got, we there. That's how it's supposed to be.
For sure. For sure.
You
Well,
know,
yeah.
when he say I'm gonna send you to the nation, that's what he talking about. See, people get it twisted. They be really looking for the whole multitude. Like right there, it's like, nah, it's a way to get that done. It's
Yeah.
definitely a way to get that done. But it's definitely good being here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story, the mission, all of that. It was just a pleasure.
All right. Thank you for coming. All right. That's it, everybody. You see how you can reach Miss Sheirra Haines. Y'all definitely got to tap into it because it takes a village to uplift the community and each one teach one. So we're definitely gonna get behind you and support this. And yep, until next time, once again, thank you for coming, lady.
You know it.
Absolutely. Peace.
All right.